brought to you by Molson, Canada's name in beer since 1786, brewers of Molson Export Ale. Canadian General Electric, progress for people since 1882. Canadian Tire Dealers with 326 stores to serve you across Canada. And by the Ford Motor Company of Canada, on behalf of your Ford and Mercury dealers from coast to coast. Tomorrow, the major concern in the province of Quebec is a provincial election. But leading up to that, there's plenty of time for interest in hockey, as was the case last night at the Quebec Coliseum. The Nordiques winning to stay alive in this first-round series against Philadelphia. And that was the winning goal by Michel Goulet at 9:48 of the third period. Some insurance with less than 3 minutes to play. Peter Stastny on a three-way passing play with his brother Anton and Michel Goulet. A 2-0 Quebec victory was marked by Daniel Bouchard's shutout goaltending. Bouchard made a total of 32 stops, the finest playoff performance of his career. Included was this save on Reggie Leach. And that wasn't the only breakaway that Bouchard had to face. Bill Barber in alone, he had 5 playoff goals in the first 2 games, but could not add a 6th. And tonight, on the eve of the provincial election, the Quebec Nordiques try to even their series in game number 4 against the Philadelphia Flyers. Good evening, everyone. I'm Dave Hodge with Bob Cole and Gary Dornhofer. Welcome to the Quebec Coliseum. This is a series that has thus far been dominated by home ice teams, the Flyers winning twice at the Spectrum, the Nordiques once thus far at the Coliseum. But it's been 2 different series as far as the different sites are concerned, because the Flyers won 2 high-scoring affairs, 6-4 and 8-5, and back here, the 2-0 game, the highlights of which you have just seen. This is a strange playoff year when you think that the Quebec Nordiques are the only team in Eastern Canada still capable of winning the Stanley Cup. And the Nordiques are alive longer than the Montreal Canadiens. It still requires some time to sink in here and perhaps everywhere in Canada. But this is the series now that all Canada is looking at to find out if the Nordiques can pull an upset similar to the one the Edmonton Oilers pulled on the Montreal Canadiens. The Nordiques tonight have injury problems, and to detail those, let's go to the booth and Bob Cole and Gary Dornhofer.
Thank you, David. Good evening, everybody. Gary Dornhofer. We've got ourselves some kind of a situation here. This building, the Quebec Coliseum, holds a little over 15,000. I don't have to tell you it's sold out tonight. You cannot hear your ears. The game has not even started yet. It's hockey excitement, Gary.
It certainly is, and you know, the injuries are going to play a very important part in this hockey game tonight. The Nordiques especially, you know, losing that veteran Andre Dupont, they need him back on defense. And also, Cloutier got hurt in that crash against the boards, and one of their top scorers, 32 goals during the regular season, Michel Goulet.
He's gone. He was a doubtful starter up until a few minutes ago, and we've just got word now, you're right, that Goulet will not be playing. And as far as the Philadelphia Flyers are concerned, Gary, we have some injuries there, too.
Well, it's interesting. Bob Daly, who is such an awesome figure back on defense, and it was interesting in game 1 and 2 in Philadelphia. He hit a lot of bodies around, and perhaps that should give the Nordiques a lot of help out there. Reggie Leach, a surprise guy. He hasn't got a point in this series. He has also been scratched by Pat Quinn.
But the Philadelphia Flyers, as we all know, have a formidable lineup. The Quebec Nordiques have the Stashnys and Daniel Bouchard.
Well, I think the Stashnys will certainly play an important part tonight. Bouchard is the key, though, because the Flyers will put a lot more pressure on him tonight.
Okay, we're told we're just about ready for our national anthem and the American national anthem to be sung by Guy Lavoie.
Mesdames, Mesdemoiselles, Messieurs, veuillez s'il vous plaît vous lever en interprétation des hymnes nationaux par le député du Nord québécois, M. Guy Lavoie, accompagné alors par M. Jean-Yves Hamel.
Campanello and Bob Luther are the linesmen. The goaltenders tonight, Rick St. Croix, or St. Croix, for the Philadelphia Flyers, and Dan Bouchard for the Quebec Nordiques. Well, while the country is still reeling from the Edmonton Oilers' upset over the Canadiens in this preliminary round, we have maybe another upset in the making here in Quebec City. Philadelphia leads the series 2-1. So here now is game 4. Puck is dropped in, and Linsman, who's on with Prop and Holmgren, clear it into the Quebec. They score! You can't believe this. After 7 seconds of play, a soft shot off the boards. Bouchard stopped it, went off his stick, and behind him, 1-0 Philadelphia. What's happening, Gary?
That may just be the break that the Flyers need. A funny bounce off the boards, off the stick of Dan Bouchard, through his legs in the net. Bouchard had just come off a tremendous game, a shutout in game 3, and all of a sudden the Flyers from the opening faceoff get on the scoreboard.
Unbelievable. An early goal for Philadelphia, and a very, very lucky one. Off the boards, off Bouchard, in the net. Only shot we have recorded so far, and it's 1-0. That's Norwood. He nearly lost it in front of the net. Now the Nordiques. This is Tardif coming out with the Stashneys. Down on the left side, Tardif cuts into the corner, breaks around the net. That's Tardif playing it back in front. Tardif knocked down. It goes right on, and the Flyers come back, led by Linsman. He's up over the line. Coming in is Prop. Took the shot, and Bouchard stopped that. This is Hoganson. Up to the line at center. Here's Tardif dropping it in. Offside is called. It's 1-0 Philadelphia. What a start.
Well, Kenny Linsman on the opening draw got the face off, and Terry Murray let it fly off the boards, and all he was doing was dumping it in, get his wingers a chance to do some forechecking, and a crazy bounce right through the legs of Bouchard. And for a goaltender, there isn't anything worse to unsettle the nerves.
Tell you, everybody in the building is jittery now. It's the first time the puck was near the net at all tonight. And Bouchard, I don't think he even saw it. That's Busnick going in for Philadelphia to clear it. Barber's starting out. Barber's pass on the right side. Bobby Clark near the blue line. He was stopped. Barber stays with it. Barber couldn't keep it in, and the Nordiques get it to center. That's Paddock against Barber along the boards, and they'll get a whistle for a face-off in the center ice area.
Coach Pat Quinn thought that game number 3 was excellent hockey. Up and down, both teams played well. Thought Bouchard was certainly the difference, but he felt that against the young, inexperienced Nordiques, have to apply a little more pressure.
Robbie Fatorik is on there now for the Nordiques. Paddock and Cote, and that's Fatorik. Down to center. Paddock on the right side looks for the pass. It's off the boards and by him, and Barber shoots it back in his own zone. It's called in the offside, apparently tipped back in by the Nordiques.
The most aerodynamic.
So if you have just joined us, they didn't play 10 seconds when the Philadelphia Flyers got a goal. A soft shot off the boards. Bouchard knocked it in his own net. 1-0 Philadelphia. Of course, a win for the Flyers tonight, and this series will be over. Now the Nordiques trying to get on the board, shooting it in. Stashny breaks one in the net. He's great. Stashny in back of the net. He overskated it. McLeish fell. They hold it along the boards behind the Philadelphia net, and it's called.
Well, that goal was scored at the 7-second mark. The record for the fastest goal from the start of a game is 6 seconds. Don Kozak of the Los Angeles Kings, April 17, 1977 at Los Angeles.
A wealth of information, Gary. Thanks.
Well, when you have that material right in front of you, Bob, it makes it very easy.
I thought it was memory. Well, they've just about hit the 2-minute mark of the first period. The crowd, usually noisy and boisterous, were stunned in the opening seconds by that quick Philadelphia goal. But I'm assured they'll get going before this evening is too far gone. The Nordiques led by Hunter. He's a scrappy one. Got it in through the middle. The long shot kicked away by St. Croix. Philadelphia trying to clear it. And like they get a whistle, they do. Holding it along the boards, 3 players. Gary, these 2 teams have been a bit chippy. I know we've been covering other series in the preliminary rounds, but our checking around today, it has been very chippy hockey.
You just wonder when something's going to explode out there. And of course, we had talked to referee Bruce Hood along with his 2 linesmen, and they assured us that wouldn't happen tonight. We had a look at Coach Bergeron of the Nordiques. Up against it, have to win tonight to force a 5th game.
Richard on the right side with Hunter at center ice, and Hunter skated out of position. Look at this now. Who assured who that nothing would happen? Look out. They're squaring off. The sticks are up. The referee, Bruce Hood, is in, and he will no doubt mete out penalties here at 2:23 of this opening period.
Well, let's face it, the Flyers have always been a team that used intimidation, and they're trying to do that against the Nordiques. The Nordiques will have nothing of that, and they're standing right up to them. Hunter and Gorence both will get the gate, and that's usually what will settle things down, is early penalties. Referee letting the teams know that they mean business. If they want to fool around, they'll spend the night in the penalty box. So Tom Gorence and Dave Hunter will both get the gate. And since we can't understand French,
they're 5 aside.
As soon as we get the penalty call, we will pass it on.
And play underway. Bailey flipped it back of his own net. Erickson trying to move it out for Philadelphia. Couldn't. The Nordiques forechecking, forcing the Flyers to freeze it along the boards again inside that blue line. And they call it.
Well, good play by Al Cody, number 19. The call on the 2 penalties was roughing, so they at least played a man short. But you saw number 19, Cody, doing an excellent job against Erickson forechecking. This is something that you have to do against the Flyers, is put a little more pressure on. In games 1 and 2, the Nordiques really relied on only sending 1 man in.
Rochefort's shot, tipped in front of the net, and it's cleared away. Barber moved on it quickly, knocked it back in the corner. Flipped back of the net by Bailey and the Philadelphia Flyers. Clark knocked it up as far as the Quebec line. Marois gets it ahead. This is Fedoruk breaking for the net. In on a sharp angle, and he can't shoot it. Cote fell. He was upended. Philadelphia coming out again. On the right side is Erickson, and over the line, dropping it to Clark. Clark sets it up for Bailey. He missed the pass, then stops it just outside the line. Tipping it back to Bobby Clark. In on the wing goes Erickson. He's belted along the boards. Not a heavy check, but effectively taken out of the play. 1-0 is the score. Philadelphia leading as Marois comes to center, hitting the line with a shot kicked away by St. Croix. Another shot in wide of the net, comes to the line, and Prop cleared it up to Linsman. Back to Prop. Over the line is Prop faking the shot, dropping it. Wilson let it go, and that's stopped by Bouchard. Hoganson for Stastny. Coming out. His pass on the far side, Lacroix going in. Cutting for the net. Couldn't get the shot away. It was blocked back there by Murray. Philadelphia coming away again. This is Linsman. You can hear the crowd. Not a popular player here, but let me tell you, a very popular player. In Philadelphia, we're getting more penalties now. Linsman, I believe, is going off for the Philadelphia Flyers. He's a chippy one there, Gary.
He had the stick up in Linsman had the stick up in Stastny's face, and referee Bruce Hood was right there, and there will be a call. And
Stastny
it's a double penalty.
Yep.
Stastny also will get the gate.
Tonight's Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Coliseum in Quebec City.
see the play right in front of you that Linsman had the stick up, but referee Bruce Hood called a penalty against Linsman and also Anton Stashny.
So from the draw, Wilson near the Quebec line gets it back, and it's relayed into him. Over here for Bridgman. He left it near the line, and it was broken up, taken away from Murray. He just waited too long. Now Murray has to go back in his own zone for Philadelphia. Played it up near the blue line, and Bridgman carries on for the Flyers. Coming in is Gorence on the wing. That's knocked in back to the net. Played out near the blue line and knocked to the corner again. I'll tell you, they're really belting each other out of the play. But Wilson was bodying along the boards Hoganson, and I guess, Gary, the Stashnys are fair game.
Well, the Flyers are certainly trying to attack that area. Wilson was called on the roughing penalty. You'll see it right along the boards. He just puts his fist right into the Nordique player. Richard, he will get the gate. The penalties to Linsman and Anton Stashny were for high sticking.
Wilson roughing. So Bruce Hood cracking down in the early going of this hockey game. It's 1-0. Philadelphia, they got a goal at the 7-second mark. And we've seen some lucky goals, so have you, Gary, along the playoff trail this year, but that has to be number one, that one.
Certainly was, and the Nordiques will be on the power play playing 4 against 3.
So Quebec will have an opportunity now with that extra man. That's Fatorik with it. Stashny coming out. This is the smooth one. Peter Stashny coming in. Stops, takes a look, gives it to Norwood. Norwood gets set, played it the other way, along the line. Norwood gets back into position in the slot. And now he's ready with it. Norwood winds up, doesn't shoot it. Richard does. Put it right on, and St. Croix jammed the pads on it, and he held it. Peter Stashny was moved out of the crease rather quickly. Norwood was pushed aside.
It's going to be that kind of a hockey game, but Richard let a good shot go, and Stashny tried the screen in a different way. All he did was skate in front of Rick St. Croix, trying for the screen, and St. Croix ended up with a puck between his pads. You'll see it coming up now on the power play, trying to set up. You see Stashny to the side of the net. Now, once that shot is going at the net, Stashny will try to get that position and actually lets the puck go right through his legs.
Bob Cole with Gary Dornhofer at the Quebec Coliseum. The Flyers leading the series 2-1, and in this game 1-0. Quebec on the power play. That's Richard. Richard stops near the point. Took a drive. Nice save. It's knocked away. Fans want a goal badly. Norwood doesn't shoot it. He was in great position. Decides to handle it a bit more. In for Stashny. Back to him. Norwood takes a look for Richard. Now he gets set. Throws it into the corner. Back to Norwood. Over to Richard. Richard into Stashny. In too deep. He can't shoot it. Philadelphia doing a great job, but now Richard handling it near the line. Richard gets it back to Norwood. Shooting. That's blocked. Stashny went after it. Nearly set up a breakaway to Bridgman. Here comes Richard. And they knock it down. They score. Roddy Fatorik, captain of the Nordiques. This place goes wild as they finally played it around. Gary, I thought they handled it very well inside the line.
Well, let's watch that power play in action. A rebound. Fatorik stays with it. Gets the rebound on the shot from Richard. Actually, it was blocked by the Flyer defenseman. But look at Fatorik in front of the net. Picks it up. He's not cleared out of there. And it's a power play goal that Nordiques are finding. And again, good movement there, finding that open man. It was Eriksson that got a piece of it. Fatorik the rebound.
Richard gets an assist. Peter Stashny another assist. Fatorik the goal at 6:13. There's the time, and it's tied at 1. Now Wilson for Philadelphia. He lost it. It's through to Stastny. And his quick shot glanced off the goalpost. Anton Stastny came awfully close to giving Quebec the lead for the first time in the game.
Now that's the line that the Flyers have to certainly be concerned about. The two Stashnys and Tardif. I mean, they can move that puck around. We look at number 25, St. Croix. There's the shot right off the goalpost. Quick release.
So, face-off just outside the Philadelphia line. The score tied at 1.
Bob, the matchup in Philadelphia was Bridgman's line along with Gorence and Hill checking Stastny's line. Of course, tonight it's a little different situation because Bergeron has the last change. So a big responsibility for Lindsman, Holmgren, and Propp. They've been pitted against the Stashnys and Tardif.
Now here is something else we've been told by the officials, at least in this series, quite often, sometimes, quite often, take that how you wish, they do litter the ice. Now we have our first delay in this opening period as somebody has thrown something out onto the ice into that big circle to the left of Rick St. Croix. So the attendants are called out to clean it up, and we'll get it going very shortly. We have a moment here, Gary. I'd like to remind our viewers that we do have a special report on Canada's 4-3 win over Finland today in Stockholm, Sweden, in the first game of the World Championships. So that's a big, big win for Canada. We're also told that Larry Robinson, Guy Lafleur, and Tony Esposito left Montreal today just before we boarded an aircraft to Montreal to come here to Quebec City. They were going over to join Team Canada. And we'll have a special report on our second intermission of this hockey game tonight. This score is tied at 1, nearing the 7-minute mark of the opening period. Tardif left it there. Stastny rolled it through the middle. Holmgren takes over. Took it from Lacroix. Coming in is Lindsman. He dropped it over back of the net. Cleared into the corner to the right of Bouchard. Quebec having difficulty moving it out. Lacroix shoots it on the boards. He was bumped back there. Back of the net. There's a shot through the crease. Now Stastny, Anton Stastny got in front of his own net. Bouchard grabbed it, then threw it in back of the net for Hoganson. Here he comes. Hoganson on the boards to Stastny. It didn't work. Philadelphia's Lindsman gets set. Didn't shoot it. Now Lacroix went over after him and bumped him back of the net. It comes right in front. Wilson scores. Ben Wilson grabbing the pass, and nobody in front of Bouchard, and it's 2-1 Philadelphia.
Now there's the good Flyer pressure taking advantage of a giveaway, and Ben Wilson, number 3, from his left point position. Oh, what a responsibility for the forwards when they're watching your point man. You just can't let a defenseman sneak in there into the slot area. A perfect pass, and Wilson has given the Flyers a lead again. And Bouchard was certainly screened on that play, went by the two players skating in front of him, and Wilson picked the corner cleanly.
So again, Philadelphia with a 1-goal lead. 2-1 is the score. That's Busnick back of the net for Philadelphia. Barber trying to move it out. Gets it to near center ice. Bobby Clark missed it. Barber goes over to help. So does Busnick along the boards. They get a whistle. Two players along the boards and another down holding it. This is Hockey Night in Canada from the Coliseum in Quebec City. So at 7 seconds, Murray for Philadelphia. At 6:13, Fatorik for Quebec. And at 7:39 now, Wilson for Philadelphia. 2-1. Flyers lead it. Clark went after it. It's knocked away from Bobby Clark by Fatorik. Philadelphia regaining it out to Barber. In on the right side. Clark comes in front. Clark rolled it right in on the net, and Bouchard just decides to hang on to it. No further play. number 8 on the Philadelphia defense. And he's playing along with Bailey.
See, Barber already with 5 goals in this series, the hat trick in game number 2. But they have Kerr playing the right wing, taking the place of Reggie Leach. Talking to him before the game, he said, I've got to get out of this slump I'm in, and I'm going to pop some home. Of course, that wasn't the case. Coach Pat Quinn decided to scratch him, and Kerr is in there.
From the draw, Quebec trying to organize, but against Bobby Clark's forechecking, that is not easy. Rochefort was stopped by Clark. Barber knocked it down at the line. Kerr went in after it. It just skipped by him back of the Quebec net. Now Padding tipped it out to the center ice area. Bailey flipped one over for Erickson. Again, Barber comes in with Clark. Into the corner goes Cote around his own net for Quebec. Played it up across the line to the center ice area. Bailey flipped it over again. Erickson coming in. Got in front, couldn't get the pass. Here's Barber after it. Kicked away by Bouchard, and the Nordiques forced to shoot it out. They gave it away to Kerr. He left it. It's tipped into the zone by Flockhart. And the Nordiques come right back again. Fatorik, long shot. St. Croix, no trouble. And it's Bathe grabbing it for Philadelphia Flyers. His long pass. Stopped at the line by Marois, and he just left it right there. Hunter picking it up. Richard catching up to him. Hunter waited too long, and Richard was offside with 10:24 left in this first period.
Now the sticks are going up again. See, Hunter, brother Dave, plays for the Edmonton Oilers, and they're sitting on top of the mountain right now.
Better
what
believe
an
it.
exciting hockey club. Finished strong down the stretch and did a real job. So our congratulations to the Edmonton Oilers. They're anxiously awaiting the finish of this preliminary round so they get going again.
Now the Nordiques on the offensive, knocking it in front. Wensink was upended. There's a penalty coming up. And again, Gary, I'll tell you, every time they bump together, they have words, the sticks come up. Now there's a little pushing and shoving. And Mr. Hood, I would think, is in for a busy evening.
Now this time it's number 28 of the Flyers, Busnick, that will get the gate.
He's not going anywhere yet. But Bruce Hood is over very quickly.
It'll be an interference call. He had the hold of the stick there. He wasn't about to let go. The Nordiques are one club that you have to take good penalties against because they have a tremendous power play.
With a score, Philadelphia 2, Quebec 1. This is Stanley Cup 81. So there's Busnick in the penalty box. He's gone, called on interference.
Just watch to the center of your screen, holding on, and he'll grab a hold of the stick, and that took care of him for a couple minutes, and the Nordiques will be on that power play. Whoop.
Norwood nearly coughed it up to Gorence, right in front of the net. Gorence, the penalty killer, along with Bridgman. Tardif was belted on the boards by Bridgman. And they come up pushing and shoving. Philadelphia leading this series 2-1. They had a tough time down in Philadelphia, too. Pichette is serving a 3-game suspension. I think this is the second game.
The Nordiques played very well in Philadelphia. Bouchard wasn't at his best, and had the Nordiques been able to get solid goaltending, they might have won one of those games. But in Game 3, Bouchard was excellent. Actually won the game for the Nordiques, and unfortunately, that start tonight.
1:48 left in the penalty to Busnick. Gorence gets the draw. Bridgman back to the line. Murray's shot. That'll be into the crowd. Deflected in front of the net. 30 feet out. And it goes flying into the crowd. A very colorful building, though, Gary, this Quebec Coliseum. A major facelifting these past months. It's filled to capacity just about every game, certainly for this one and these playoffs.
How about the Nordiques? They play an exciting brand of hockey. They have to be one of the quickest teams in the league.
Now the play comes out along the line, and Stastny comes to center. Peter Stastny rolled it in. He tried to hit Tardif, and it was blocked. Stastny steals it again. Look at him go. Stastny, a beauty to watch, into Tardif, into the corner. Over for Anton Stastny. He was stopped. Wilson took it away from him, and it was knocked down outside the line by Fatorik. Peter Stastny to Fatorik. Good play. He dropped it back. Tardif gets set. Peter Stastny. Near the line is Norwood. Will he get it? Yes, he does. Norwood gets ready. Played it into Anton. They set it up again, looking for that one chance. The pass. Fatorik couldn't handle it, and the Flyers shoot it down the ice. 50 seconds left in Busnick's penalty. Norwood starting out. Getting the line is Stastny to center. He was stopped by Barber coming in. Barber nearly broke through, but Fatorik made a good defensive move to stop that rush by Barber. There's Clark for checking. It's 2-1, Philadelphia leading. 30 seconds left in the Busnick penalty. Quebec, another shot at it now. They go to center. Peter Stastny gets in front of the net. Anton Stastny gets a great chance, centered it, and Clark was there to whip it away and down the ice. The Nordiques come close. These Stashnys are marvelous to watch. Here's Marois from center. Hooked a long one in, and there's Bathe after it. He flipped it ahead on the right side. Bobby Clark gets it to center. Marois again dropped it to Rochefort. Rochefort on this open side. The Flyers break it up, and the penalty is over now. Philadelphia at full strength. 8 minutes left in this opening period. It's 2-1, Philadelphia leading. Here's Richard. He was stopped. The Flyers forechecking well. Lindsman gets it back. Croft took a drive. That was stopped by Richard, and he's away around the net. He'll have to do it a second time. Comes in front this time, dangerously close to Lindsman. Now Rochefort up the center to Hunter. Hunter to Richard. He didn't see the pass, and the Flyers take it again. 7.5 minutes left in the first period. 2-1 the score, Philadelphia, and here they come again. Lindsman in on the right side, and Holmgren was stopped. Good play by Rochefort. But there's Lindsman again. Tried to set up Ben Wilson, who was coming in. There's a drive, and that one was wide by Prop to the far side. Back for the Nordiques. 3 of them go up across the line. It's cleared in, wide of the net. Winsink couldn't handle it. Just slides too far, and St. Croix grabbed it. Again, pushing, shoving, the sticks up high. Nothing developing this time. I do not believe, at least to this point.
I think from the Nordiques standpoint, they know the Flyers are going to do this. They have to keep their cool, make sure they don't get the penalties. If the Flyers want to do it, they will be penalized, and that's when you take advantage of the puck.
What are you supposed to do, Gary? You get pushed around, a high stick, this, that, walk away, I guess. If you can. That's what the Nordiques are doing to this point.
If you can draw a penalty and take a little high stick or an elbow, it's worth it, because you're going to get that opportunity in the power play.
Hockey Night in Canada will continue in a moment.
We have an out-of-town score. The LA Kings, facing elimination, are behind the New York Rangers right now, Madison Square Garden. A goal by Duguay and Nethery, and 1 goal for LA by Carrion. 2-1 Rangers over LA in the first period.
2-1 in the first period here at Quebec Coliseum. Philadelphia leading. Puck goes flying high. Winsink couldn't knock it down, and the Flyers shoot it down the ice. This time it'll be icing. Johnson goes back. Icing called against Philadelphia. Gary, I'm going to ask you. You mean in the days that you people were playing in Philadelphia for Stanley Cups, were you ever told that tonight is intimidation time? Here we go. This is a soft team. Let's get them.
Well, there's different ways of intimidation, Bob. You can do it by muscle. You can do it by speed. You know, in our days, we had a big hockey club.
You did it by muscle.
A tough hockey club. We did it by muscle. We couldn't skate with some of those fast teams.
How about this Philadelphia team? I guess a combination of muscle and speed. They have some speedsters.
Yes, they do, and I think this is a tougher hockey club than what we had. But you don't have to resort to the stick work. That's the only stuff that you have to stay away from.
There's Richard centering it. Flipped up along the boards by Claxon. Johnson lost a chance. Another chance for Johnson. That was knocked down in front. Along the board, sticks go up again over there as two players fall to the ice. Back of the net, Bathe for Philadelphia. Bathe's got it along the boards and out to center ice. And this is Bridgman coming in. Bridgman in front. They score! Beautiful play by Bridgman. And the pass right in front. And Gorance had little difficulty.
Well, it all started at the blue line of the Philadelphia Flyers when Claxon took a gamble. The puck went right over his stick, and that resulted in a 2-on-1 break. Now this is well played by Bridgman. He knows that Gorance is coming, waiting, and when the right opportunity, all he had to do was slide it across, and Gorance just had to put his stick down and slip it in the open net. But a good heads-up play by Mel Bridgman.
13:34, the time. Look at it again.
Number 24, Terry Johnson, played it right in the middle. And it just took a good play by Mel Bridgman.
Here's another chance. Barber this time. He centered it. It was cleared. Clark gets it back to the line. Bailey's shot. The rebound is right there, and Bouchard covered up. The Nordiques in a little bit of trouble now. Stalled for a face-off in the Quebec zone. 3-1 is the score. Philadelphia leading on that last goal by Gorance.
In the first intermission, I'll talk to Quebec captain Robbie Ftorek, who has the only goal for the Nordiques so far. We'll recap last night's games involving Canadian teams. A reminder, a report in the second intermission from Sweden on Team Canada's crucial victory over Finland.
All right, David.
Norman Rochford has been called on the hold. So the Flyers will get a power play opportunity. And the guy to watch on this one is Billy Barber, number 7. With Erickson handling the puck on the point. Really a good playmaker for the Flyers.
So holding against Rochefort. 3-1 Philadelphia. And now a power play. Croft gets it over. Erickson on the boards. In back of the net. Clark comes in to help. Clark digging for it. It's on this side. Philadelphia still in control. Kerr got it back. Barber had it go off his skate. And Ftorek just from center ice faked the shot. Flipped it through to Cote. Ftorek coming up. Barber got it to the line. Knocked down by Marois. And Bobby Clark is covering up. Marois sent flying. And the fans calling for a penalty, but the play goes right on as Kerr dropped it back in his own zone. Barber lining it up. Play to Bobby Clark at center. Clark and Erickson come up over the line. Clark gets set. Nobody touching him. Clark is moving it around near the blue line. Takes a look back for Erickson. Erickson faked the shot. Decides to give it to Clark again. To Erickson. At the line is Erickson. And it knocked off his stick. Back down the ice. Barber comes back on side. Just in time, he tipped it up the blue line into the corner. Hoganson knocked it away. It's not out. Now it is, as they slash it down the ice.
Well, we've seen some real strange bounces from the glass and the boards here, especially when you're shooting it along the boards. So I think both teams have to be very careful of that.
4:50 left of the period and 40 seconds in the penalty to Rochefort. This is Linsman, stopped up the line by Marois. Flyers continue on, though, and shoot it in. Ben Wilson coming in for it. Didn't get a chance. McLeish tried to knock it on the boards to get it in front. That didn't work. Back near the line, Murray took a shot into the corner for Linsman. Linsman waiting over there. Now he lets it go. It's deflected. Bouchard stopped it. Just rolled it toward the line, and Hunter gets away with Richard. Hunter breaks in with the backhander, hit the side of the net. It's centered, and Wilson was the only one back. 4:15 left in the period. 3-1 Philadelphia. McLeish just got away from that check. It's rolled into Linsman. Linsman gets set. Couldn't make his play. The Flyers keep it in, though. Hunter fell. Linsman didn't see it, and it's knocked to center ice. Teams are at full strength again as Wilson comes from his own blue line. The long pass to Bridgman, hopped away from him. Bridgman and Lacroix. Lacroix, rough customer, comes right in front. He ran into Bridgman behind the net, belted him in there. Out for Tardif, racing in against Bathe. Tardif stopped. Bathe took the puck away from him. And the Flyers getting back to break it up. In back of the net, it comes right. Trying to scramble for it. St. Croix went down and held on to it. Live from the Coliseum in Quebec City, the Stanley Cup playoffs. 3:27 left in the period. 3-1 is the score. Philadelphia. I have got to get unraveled, Gary. Pierre Lacroix with Quebec. Rick St. Croix in the nets for Philadelphia. We'll do it yet. Here's Gorence coming in, trying to center it. Hill takes it back to the net. Tardif from the corner. Stopped by Bridgman. Bridgman gets set, can't shoot it. And Tardif brings it out across the line to center. Bridgman caught up to him, stopped him. Now they shoot it into the zone. The two Stachny's, Peter and Anton, in looking for it. But the Flyers just get it back to center ice. Hoganson and Norwood on the Quebec defense. That's Anton Stachny with Peter. Peter gets up to the Philadelphia line. Anton in behind him. Good move. He stops, gets in front. The shot. 2 feet off the net. Good low shot, but off the target to the left side. Quebec staying with it. Right in front is Hill to intercept for Philadelphia. 2.5 left in the period, and Hill just shoots it in on the boards. Marois for Quebec. Coming down to the line. His pass to Stachny didn't work. Barber broke it up. Barber checking, stopped inside the line. He fell, and the puck comes to the center ice area. Anton Stachny feeds a pass ahead on the wing. Torek is stopped over there, and it's cleared back down the ice by the Philadelphia Flyers. Marois. His pass. Grabbed by Hunter and flipped down on the left side. Cote took a shot. That was stopped by St. Croix. Again, the Flyers with 1:45 left in the period. Get it up to center, and Marois just left it for Hoganson. Gets it back again to Hoganson. Hitting the line. The play goes down to the left side, and Cote along the boards got away from Eriksson. No, he did not. Eriksson just turned around and then swiped it out to center ice. 1.5 minutes left in the period. Here's Norwood for Quebec. Left it there. It's cleared to Torek. Tipped down the ice, and it went over the boards at the bench at the far side, and it's called. This Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Coliseum in Quebec City. It's 3-1, Philadelphia leading, 1:15 left in the period. On the boards, it's cleared to Stachny to center. In with Tardif. Tardif going for the net. Got it back in front, and Wilson was there to pick it up for Philadelphia. And now we have 1 minute remaining in this first period. Norwood back to his own line. Rochefort up to Peter Stachny. Richard coming in. Richard breaking for the net. Centered it. And Tardif was too well covered. And the Flyers will just try to hang on to it now along the boards. They couldn't hold it long enough, but they poked it out to center ice. And the Nordiques take it. Rochefort to center. Tardif didn't see the pass, and he was offside.
The Nordiques have made several good end-to-end rushes, but once they get into that offensive zone, they keep looking for that slot man who is well covered, throwing that puck away blind. You know, after you go from one end of the ice to the other, you can't throw that puck away carelessly.
And Gary, it's quite noticeable. The Philadelphia defensemen going back there are keeping them to the outside.
Yes, absolutely. And the Flyer defense are just waiting in front of that, picking up those stray passes, and all that work. You know, that 200 feet going from one end to the other is wasted, so that little look certainly helps.
Well, 36 seconds left in this period. Philadelphia leading in the series, 2-1. Could wrap it up tonight with a win here in Quebec. Of course, Quebec would like to see another game Tuesday down in Philadelphia. They've got some going to do. 20 seconds left of the period. It comes loose to Bridgman. Bridgman didn't get a stick on it. Hit his skate, rolled away from him. Hunter fell in his own zone, and Marois goes in back of the net. 10 seconds left. He'll try to run out the clock. Hoganson tipped it ahead to center. It's knocked down at center ice, and Hill chopped it back for Marois. As the siren goes, he took the long shot, and the first period is over. Murray, Wilson, and Gorence with Torek scoring for Quebec. And the score at the end of the first period is Philadelphia 3 and Quebec 1.
The Flyers scored at the 7-second mark and have gone on to take a 3-1 first period lead. Terry Murray's fluke goal and Wilson and Bridgman after Robbie Fatorik had tied it for a time for the Nordiques. It is 3-1 in favor of the Philadelphia Flyers. And with me in this first intermission is the captain and the lone goal scorer thus far for Quebec, Robbie Fatorik. At the end of this game, that first goal is going to be mentioned, either as a goal that unnerved the Nordiques or as a goal that you were able to overcome. At this point, sitting here now, how much of an effect do you think it has had?
Well, I really didn't see it. It also happened kind of quick, but you know, I think when something like that happens, you got to just bear down and say, all right, we give them one, now we got to go out and get it back and go from there. And I think that's what we all said on the bench. You know, you need to get one goal to win a game anyhow, more than one goal. So we've got our work cut out for us.
Well, in fact, you did get the goal back, and then the Flyers got a couple more. This is a strange series in that when the score has been high, Philadelphia has benefited most. And the only low-scoring game thus far, you won. And I think that at the beginning of the series, you'd probably have predicted that it would be the reverse. The Nordiques were the free-skating team, the team that liked to score goals, and the Flyers like to play a bit tighter. Is there any explanation for the fact that it hasn't worked that way?
No, I don't think that there really is, or at least I don't have it for you. But I think I was very surprised that we scored so many goals down in Philadelphia and come out without a win. You know, we scored 10 goals down there in 2 games, and when you score that many goals in a visiting team's rink, you should win the game, I think, especially in an important game where you have to play a good defense. And Danny had a little bit of trouble down there, but it's not Danny's fault. It's all of us. There's 19 guys on the team, and we all have to play together. And the game at home, we tightened up our belt straps there a little bit, and we played a lot better, and we benefited from that. Tonight now we went out, and they got one zing right off the bat. Maybe if we would have had a timeout right then and said, okay, let's settle down here and go from there, it may have helped. But I'm sure the coach will tell us to settle down and just chip away, get one. There's 40 minutes left to go. You know, if we were ahead, we'd have to bear down because there's 40 minutes left for them to come back and tie us up. So now we're down. We've got to take our time and go ahead and chip away at them.
Games involving the Flyers often seem to include a lot of activity, for lack of a better word, after the whistle. You know it's going to happen. Can you prepare yourself for it in terms of how you will react to it? Obviously to try to avoid penalties that you don't want to take and perhaps to get them to take some that would benefit you. Is there any kind of thing that has to go through your mind knowing you're going to play Philadelphia and that will go on?
Well, I think every individual has to do it himself. Myself, I go out there with the idea of getting into a position where they'll have to take a penalty on me. On my goal there, I stood in front of their net and somebody broke a stick across my back, you know, so I figured that they were going to have a delayed penalty on the play as it was, and it didn't happen that way. We fortunately got a goal out of it, which is nice, but I asked the guys on the bench, you know, I asked Alain Cote, who always using the true scoop, I said, was there a delayed call there? And he said, no. I said, geez, I was really surprised at that because you try to get yourself into that position and then control your emotions so that you don't retaliate back, because usually the guy who retaliates back is the guy who's going to get caught, and so you have to discipline yourself not to retaliate back.
This is the only series thus far in the first round where home ice has prevailed throughout. For you to prolong the series, it has to happen again. How important is home ice to you?
Well, you have to win 3 games, and that means you have to win one on the other team's barn. So it's important right now because this is the game we're in, but Tuesday, if we get there, it won't be that important.
Thank you, Robbie Fatorik, very much. The captain of the Quebec Nordiques, who are trailing 3-1. Coming up next, we'll have a recap of last night's first-round playoff games involving Canadian teams. You'll see again Edmonton's triumph over Montreal. Hockey Night in Canada continues in just a moment.
The co-authors of An Impossible Dream, Wayne Gretzky and Andy Moog of the Edmonton Oilers, not only a victory over the Montreal Canadiens in the elimination round of the Stanley Cup playdowns, but a series sweep. Wayne, so many thrills for you this season. Where does this one rank?
Well, this is at the top. You know, it's nice to break records and nice to have records, but we're here to win and lose, and it takes 19 guys to do it, and it's just great, and there's no other feeling to winning.
At what point in this series, Wayne, did you really start believing that you could beat the Montreal Canadiens?
Well, it's first of all, it's an honor to play against Montreal. We expected to play the best team in hockey, and I think they are the best team. And I think we turned it right around when we made it 1-0 in the first game. They tied it up, and about 20 seconds later, we scored, made it 2-1. And I think that gave everybody a big boost, and I think that made us believe that we could do what we wanted to do. And we just played their game, skated, got on them, and hit, and forechecked, and of course, Andy played unbelievable.
Andy Moog, unbeaten as a Stanley Cup goaltender. Can you believe that one?
Well, I didn't have much to do tonight. Defense just shut them right down. They didn't they didn't have any good opportunities from about the 10-minute mark of the second period on.
Tell me how you feel at this particular point, Eddie. Do you believe it yet?
Well, I was just gathering my thoughts in the dressing room, and I'm starting to think about it, and it's a little scary, actually.
You seemed so cool out there in the 3 games we did watch.
Well, believe me, I'm just screaming inside. Not that cool.
18 other guys, too.
Yeah.
As you look from here on, gentlemen, how do you feel now going into the next round? Wayne?
Well, you know, we prepared ourselves mentally, physically. Glenn did a hell of a job getting us ready for Montreal. You know, we watched a lot of films. We studied their power play, their penalty killing. I think that, you know, we didn't get overconfident, but we knew we had to win every shift, win every period. We didn't lose a period. And whoever we play next series, we have to do the same thing. We have to beat them to the puck, beat them to the corners, forecheck, skate, hit, and win every shift.
In conclusion, the game-winning goal by Wayne Gretzky as the Edmonton Oilers go on to victory over the Montreal Canadiens. Gretzky in all by himself and beats Sevigny, the game winner in a 6-2 Edmonton victory over the Montreal Canadiens in the elimination round. I'm John Wells reporting.
The New York Islanders completed an easier than routine sweep of the Toronto Maple Leafs with a 6-1 third game victory at Maple Leaf Gardens. One of the Leafs' problems in this series, there were many, is that the Leafs never scored the first goal of a game nor the second goal of a game, and such was the case in game number 3 when the Islanders brought their road record, the best in the NHL, to the Gardens. The scoring was opened by New York's Wayne Merrick, who did such a great checking job in the first 2 games. This time he got into the scoring column, Butch Goring assisting Yuri Sirha-Beaton on the glove side, and the Islanders were away to the races once again. About 3 minutes later, the Islanders were on a power play, and that very often means an Islander goal. This one was scored by Mike Bossy with the whole right side of the ice to himself from center ice, and he got Sirha coming out and put it by him. 2-0 at that point, 5-0 after 1 period, and the Islanders scored their 6th goal in the second period of play, the combination that totally dominated this series. Mike Bossy with the puck now. Brian Trottier will get it, put it in the net for his 6th goal of the series. The Leafs barely managed a goal by Rick Vive and went out in 3 straight. This is Dave Hodge reporting from Toronto.
Who said the Calgary Flames choked in the playoffs? They came through with their 3rd straight playoff victory in Chicago, defeating the Chicago Blackhawks in the second overtime period, 5-4. A goal by Willie Plett won it, but before that, a lot happened to tie this game up late in regulation time. Here's a goal by Secord at 17-12 of the 3rd period from Ruskowski and Preston. That made it 4-3 with the Flames leading Chicago, but the Hawks came storming back. There's the goal by Secord, his 4th of the playoffs at 17-12. And then with time running out, you won't believe this goal, folks. You've really got to watch this one carefully. 43 seconds left to play. Here comes Lysiak, and here comes Sutter following up. He falls to the ice, spins around, and would you believe it, it's in the net behind Rajan Lemelin, and that tied it at 4. With just 43 seconds left, that forced the overtime. You've just got to see this one again. Sutter's goal, Darryl Sutter, the rookie, a 40-goal man in regulation time, tied it for Chicago. And it looks like the Hawks, it looks at this point as though the Hawks might win it in overtime, and they put all kinds of pressure on the Flames. But then, in the second overtime period at 15-17, Willie Plett broke away, drilled a screen shot past Tony Esposito. That was it. 5-4, the Calgary Flames defeat the Chicago Blackhawks and sweep the series 3-0.
For the second year in a row, the Buffalo Sabres have eliminated the Vancouver Canucks from further playoff action. Last year, they did it 3-1. This year, it was a 3-game sweep. We pick up the action late in the first period. Gilbert Perreault setting up a wide-open Danny Gare for the Nelson, BC native, the game's first star, his 3rd goal of the series, and career playoff goal number 23. It's 3-1 Buffalo after 1 period. Thomas Gradin gets Vancouver's 2nd goal, taking a pass from Ivan Bolarev and putting a backhander behind Edwards, 4-2 Buffalo. Vancouver make it 4-3 at 13:08 with a beautiful unassisted effort from Ivan Bolarev. Bolarev didn't play in the first 2 games, but he certainly made up for it with that goal. Richard Brodeur makes a rare mistake. He tries to clear the puck, but he does it right onto the stick of Tony McKegney. For McKegney, his 2nd goal of the game. And that's all the Buffalo Sabres need for a 5-3 victory and a 3-0 sweep of the series over the Vancouver Canucks.
With 5 of the 8 first-round series ending in the minimum of 3 games, 5 teams guaranteed a rest, clubs such as Philadelphia, holding a 2-1 lead, want desperately to avoid a 5th game in their series. And thus far, the Flyers are on their way to doing that. For first period highlights, let's go to the booth. Bob and Gary.
Any first goal like that, they weren't even in their seats, and it was in the net. 7 seconds, Murray scored. It had to be one of the flukiest goals we've seen. That must unnerve a hockey team.
It was strange, let me tell you, Bob, but you could just see the heads on the bench by the Nordiques. They just dropped. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. But let's watch it hit the net. The heel of Bouchard's stick, he had his legs open and it trickled in for the Flyers. What a great way to start. For the Nordiques, oh boy, just instant panic. But you wonder, it just goes to show you when that puck is around that crease area, you just never know what can happen, Bob. But to the credit of the Nordiques, they came back, something that they've been doing all year on the power play, puck movement. They have talented players out there. Richard will let that shot go. Eriksson will go down to block it. Just gets a piece of it. You notice Robbie Fatorik, not a big person, but a big heart, gets in front of the net, gets the rebound, and that tied the score. But then after that, the Flyers went to work.
Well, Wilson and Gorens came back with back-to-back goals. It's 3-1 at the end of the first period. These Philadelphia Flyers are going to be tough to beat.
Yes, they are, and I think an area that the Nordiques have to improve on is not give that puck away in the Flyers zone.
We'll return with the Stanley Cup playoffs in just a moment. So, Philadelphia, coming into the second period, have a 3-1 lead over the Quebec Nordiques. The Stachny's and Tardif for Quebec, and the Linsman line, Prop and Holmgren for Philadelphia. Tardif slides a pass out to center ice. Peter Stachny and Anton Stachny stopped near the line as Wilson stood right up there and cleared it. Linsman missed it. He just waved at it. Now he gets it back for the shot from the blue line. It was tipped by Norwood, then stopped by Bouchard. The Nordiques, everybody coming back, and the Stachnys lead it again. 3 of them get to center. That's a bad pass. Not often you see that. Norwood ran into Holmgren, and he went flying. Murray over to Wilson. Wilson's pass up to Holmgren coming in. He feeds it in back of the net, and Norwood takes it for the Quebec Nordiques. 3-1 Philadelphia, nearing the 1-minute mark of the second period, and Murray breaks it up. Pass goes harmlessly to center ice. The Nordiques coming back to regroup. Tardif looks for it. It goes the other side to the right wing. Hoganson up to center. Tried to play it in and did. That took a crazy hop off the boards. Nearly came in front of the Philadelphia net. Now the puck in front of the net. Wilson comes out with Bobby Clark. Clark to center. Up over the Quebec line. Wilson got in front. Here's a chance. And that shot glanced up high off the glass. Kerr just sweeping right in on top of Dan Bouchard. There's Kerr again with Clark. Got up across the line, and Fatorik comes back with Cote. He's up over the line. Took a shot. Nowhere near the net. And the Philadelphia Flyers, Busnick up to Kerr. He'll shoot it in the Quebec zone. Rochefort tried to tie him up and couldn't. Into the corner. Marois tried to hang on to it. Still loose. Now they hold it with their skates again. 3 players pile in. Clark couldn't stop it. It comes sliding to the line. And Bay took his man out of the play rather neatly at the blue line. Prevented him from getting away. Cote rolled it to the other side. Paddock, he was checked earlier and goes off. Shaken up a little bit on that Bay's check. Into center goes Barber. Offside in the right wing was Bridgman, and it's called. From the Coliseum in Quebec City, this is Stanley Cup 81.
Dear.
All the scoring so far in the first period. Murray, Wilson, Gorens for Philadelphia, and Fatorik for Quebec. Nearing the 3-minute mark of the second period. The Nordiques trying to get back into it. Norwood goes back of the net. On the other side, Hoganson's pass comes to center. Knocked down by Lacroix, coming in. Left it for Hunter. Hunter lost it. He got it back near the line, and Hoganson missed it. Philadelphia coming in. Gorin's breaking for the net. The drive by Hill was grabbed and knocked away, and back come the Nordiques. Lacroix in on the left wing. He overskates it. And the Flyers again move it to centers. It opens up a bit now. Bridgman's long shot. Stopped by Bouchard. Bridgman again keeping it in. Behind the net is Hill. Hill was bumped in there by Johnson. Now he gets loose again. Stopping. Flipped it in back of the goal. Gorins couldn't get it in front. Bridgman does. Bouchard covered up. Again, Hill centered it for Bridgman. Gorins waved at it, and he missed it. The Nordiques to center ice. Coming in, Richard faking the shot. Hands it off, and then the shot hit his leg and bounced away as Lacroix. Didn't see him skate in front of him. Hill back for Philadelphia. Flipped the long one in on the boards, and Rochefort takes over for Quebec. Coming down on the right wing to center ice. They bring it back in. Marois took his long shot. That was stopped easily by St. Croix. Again, the Flyers, every man back. They cover up so well inside the line and just clear it out. Stastny intercepts one. Peter Stastny coming in to Anton. He couldn't control it. And Holmgren, a pass to Lindsman, one man back. Lindsman, let's see what he can do. Took the shot. It's deflected over the glass into the crowd. Tonight's Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Coliseum in Quebec City. Lindsman, Holmgren, and Prop for Philadelphia. The two Stashnys and Tardif come out with it. Tardif didn't get the pass. It was blocked by Holmgren. Over on an open wing it goes, and Rochefort winds up inside his own blue line. Looks for it back and gets it. Rochefort and Tardif up to center. Stastny nearly poked it through, and Wilson breaking it up gives it to Holmgren. That pass a little too far, and Marois goes back. Marois left it along the board. Stastny, a pass to Tardif at center. Good move by Tardif. He dropped it over the line. Tardif gets in front of the net. Stastny took a shot, another one. And this one was off his skate and just wide. A drive from the line. Philadelphia breaking it up, and the Flyers clear it again to center. That's Prop shooting it in. 3-1, Philadelphia leading the Quebec Nordiques, nearing the 6-minute mark of the second period. She's opened up a bit now, Gary.
Well, with the likes of the Stashnys out there, that last play they went down the ice, very exciting to watch. Stastny just shot one wide of the net, but I think for the Nordiques, they have to be able to come up with that puck and really apply some pressure in the Flyers zone. They haven't been able to do that. The LA Kings have tied the Rangers in that second period, and St. Louis, after losing one game at home, with a win tonight, can eliminate Pittsburgh from the playoffs. They're ahead 2-0 in the first.
So Bobby Clark for Philadelphia with Barber and Kerr. Musnick and Bathe, the two defensemen inside the line. Tutorek at center ice for Quebec, taking the draw against Clark, and Clark getting the draw to Bathe. The shot hit a leg and bounced back to center. Musnick tried to play it in and did to Kerr, but he was covered by Norwood. Hoganson's pass to center ice. The Nordiques shoot it in, and here's Cote looking for it. Clark tied him up, though. Tutorek centered it. Panic didn't see the pass, and Bathe starts Barber away. He was stopped by Tutorek again. Tutorek knocking it down. Relentless forechecking by Tutorek near the Philadelphia line. Paddock keeping it in. Paddock along the boards. Took the shot from a difficult angle. Comes back to Norwood. He played it into Paddock back of the net. Paddock trying to center. Does! And Tutorek missed the far corner. Marois let it go! And that went off a leg and just wide. Great pressure around St. Croix. Kerr stopped at center, but here comes Bobby Clark. Cote knocked it away from him. Now Barber up over the line with Kerr. Barber shoots! Nice save by Bouchard. Got the skate out. Made it look easy. Barber got in front, but Kerr couldn't set him up. And Tutorek comes out of his own zone. Slides it up to Marois from center. And his shot, St. Croix. Easy save, and it's into the crowd. This is Hockey Night in Canada from the Coliseum in Quebec City. Bob Cole with Gary Dornhofer here in the second period. Gary, nearing the 7-minute mark, 3-1 Philadelphia.
Well, the Flyers are using a lot more discipline. They had leads in games 1 and 2 by 2. And the Nordiques came back because of bad penalties, but tonight they have that discipline going for them.
There's a shot right on and knocked away. Nordiques looking pretty good on that offensive drive, flipping it around inside the Philadelphia line, but they come up empty. Richard trying to get out of his own zone. A pass to the left side. Lacroix is coming in. His pass hit a skate. The Nordiques recover. That's Hunter sliding it in front. Richard couldn't get near it. Daly was bumped by Hunter on the way out of his own zone. Hunter, tough customer for the Quebec Nordiques. Not very big, but he's tough.
Well, he gets his nose in there, and he's not afraid to take a hit or give one.
Wait a minute.
Somebody's going to be ejected.
Bruce Hood is looking into the stands, and he wants somebody ejected. A fan threw something at one of the players or an official, and Bruce Hood is going to hold it up until that fan has been ejected from this hockey game. And here comes the security.
Here they come.
Let's watch this now. Nobody wants to leave. Who, me? Me? Are you telling me it was me? Oui, monsieur, and that's it. He's got to go. You know, Gary, the referee will hold up the game.
Absolutely.
When he has decided that that fan must go, that fan must go, or 15,000 will go crazy.
Well, we understand that in yesterday's game there were eggs thrown out there, just about everything, and there's no reason for that. In fact, when the Nordiques, if they are going really good in that particular game, it just slows them down. It changes the tempo of the game. But when you're going good, you like to keep that flow going at all times and not have those interferences or those distractions, you know, with times when you have to clean up the ice and things like that.
So the price of that ticket for that fan has just gone up 100%. We're just about at the halfway mark of the second period. Of course, if there is enough overtime, I'm saying 3 periods.
It's still the giveaways, Bob, by the Nordiques. I mean, they're applying pressure in this second period, but a lot of times just throwing that puck blindly in the slot area, and the Flyers are just intercepting and coming out of the zone.
Now then, Philadelphia. Long pass down on the wing. It's cleared in. Gorence couldn't pick it up. Bridgman turns in the center ice area. Hill going in after Norwood, who slides it back. It's played out along the boards, and again, Hill of the Flyers picked it up and shoots it in. Marois is turning. Marois up to Hunter. Here come the Nordiques. Long pass. He tried to hit Lacroix. That failed. And Hill brings it up once more with Bridgman. Across the line, he was bumped by Hunter. Marois on an open wing. No one was there. Richard over on the other side. Began to break this way and then turned. Suddenly, Bridgman centers one. Hunter was in front to break it up for Quebec. The Nordiques can't move it out. Norwood went in on the boards against Bridgman. Gorence goes in to help. And they get a whistle for a face-off in the Quebec zone to the left.
This has been a strong line for the Flyers. Captain Mel Bridgman, Gorence, and Hill very strong along the boards in the corners. In fact, in that first period with a score 3-1, Mel Bridgman dug a puck out, and Hill had all kinds of time and room to shoot it in the net. Bouchard came up probably with his best save of the game.
They played 8:21 of the second period. Philadelphia 3. And the Quebec Nordiques 1. I'm Bob Cole with Gary Dornhofer and Dave Hodge.
Bob, you notice that in the offensive zone, Paul Holmgren will take all faceoffs, even though Ken Linsman is the center iceman, a lot stronger than Kenny, and also very adept at taking those faceoffs.
Well, we'll see, Gary, how successful he is now with a face-off deep in the Quebec zone. Comes back near the line. Okay, but Murray missed it. And it's in the center ice area. Murray to Wilson and back to Murray. Murray coming up to his own line to center. Holmgren going in with prop. And Linsman, Holmgren faked the shot. Knocked away by Rochefort. A good play by the Quebec defenseman. Back for the Nordiques. Tardif comes in looking for the rebound. It does not come. St. Croix holds on to it, and no further play.
You know, when you're playing against a team that handles the puck as well as the Nordiques and likes to make those plays around the blue line, it's so very important that your defensemen try to challenge at the blue line, break them up, force the team to shoot them in. Of course, they don't like to do that, especially the Stashneys. They don't like to shoot that puck in. They like that room to carry it and then make those pretty plays.
And they do that pretty well.
Yes.
That's Peter Stastny, number 26. Didn't get the draw this time. Philadelphia taking over. Murray back to the net. Got it out on the boards. It slides down the ice, and Rochefort has to hustle back. He's out there with Hoganson on the Quebec defense. Fanned on it, trying to clear it. Hoganson will go back to the net to pick it up for Quebec and starts away. Gets up to the line. He's at center. Shoots it over on the right wing, and it's broken up again, and the Flyers, Wilson tipped it up to Linsman. The pass was behind him. Murray poked at it. It goes to Rochefort. Back again to Hoganson. In on the right side for Stastny. Anton Stastny broke his stick, centered it. Knocked away by St. Croix. And Murray shooting it down the ice. Icing will be called if Norwood gets back in time. He does. And icing is called against Philadelphia. With a score, Philadelphia 3 and Quebec 1. This is Stanley Cup 81. Johnson and Marois come on the defense for Quebec. Peturic, Cote, and Paddock. Paddock gets it back to Marois. Took a shot. It's deflected wide of the Philadelphia net. Peturic shot it in back of the net, and Barber has it. With Clark and Kerr coming out. Broken up near the line. Peturic lost it against Bays. Now Busnick for Philadelphia to Kerr. In with Barber. The pass high and behind Bobby Clark. But now Barber knocks it down. He was stopped. Kerr carries on for Clark near the side of the net. He's stopped by Marois. They hold it along the boards in behind the Quebec net. And they get a whistle again.
Well, what a performer Bobby Clark has been. This is his 10th season in the playoffs with the Flyers. Just missed the playoffs one time. Leads the Flyers in playoff action. 114 games, 71 assists.
Seems like he's been around forever. Only 10 seasons. Glorious 10 years.
He slowed down a little bit, but that desire and that willingness to work is still there.
Think he ever quits?
Now it's going to be a sad day in Philadelphia when he hangs them up.
Here's Busnick taking the shot. Clark, so good at the face-offs. What makes him so good, Gary?
Well, that's what I believe. It's just his desire to play all the time.
Peturic dropped it near the line, and Cote's shot off the net. Peturic goes back to the goal on the other side as Paddock tries to get it to him. Now Peturic goes in to help Paddock. Paddock gets it back near the line. Johnson shoots it. Good 10 feet wide. Marois from the other side. He put it right on. And that was grabbed by Rick St. Croix, and he holds it. Face-off coming up in the Philadelphia zone with 9:23 left in the period.
Well, some good work there by John Paddock. He played for the Flyers last year, and the Nordiques got him, but Rick St. Croix, no playoff experience, but he has been solid as a rock. Made some good saves tonight. Bergeron pacing behind the Nordique bench, just waiting for something to happen.
Gary, supposing Philadelphia wins this series, how far can Philadelphia Flyers go this year?
Well, I still think they need a guy like Bob Daly. He was up visiting us before. That knee problem again. Remember, he had a cartilage removed, and he was back playing. They had him written off for the rest of the season. But they have to get the big guy back there. Then they've got a chance.
For all the marbles?
In playoffs, you never know what will happen. You know that, Bob. We've seen too many funny things happen this year.
There's Bridgman racing forward against Norwood. Norwood showing some great speed getting back. Good hustle by Norwood. They're offside now at the Quebec line. I'm not calling anymore, I'll tell you that. Upsets around in this preliminary series.
I think after our selections in the first, some of the upsets we've seen, we're not going to call anymore. That's it. Why make a fool of ourselves time and time again?
The Edmonton Oilers are sitting back out there listening to you now, Gary, and they're laughing. And I guess they are laughing. What a great show they put on. Saylor, Gretzky.
But they worked hard for it. They worked hard. They deserve it.
Yes, indeed. Cinderella team for this year. the Edmonton Oilers. Right here we have Quebec trying to get back into this one against Philadelphia with 8:40 left in the second period, and it's 3-1 Flyers. Quebec Nordiques coming to center. In on the right side, Hunter stops, slides it over. Norwood didn't get a chance to shoot it. Goes in back of the goal. Played ahead by Bailey. Out with Eriksson to center. Eriksson goes in with Gorence shooting it right on. Knocked away. Gorence again flipped it back into the net. A penalty coming up against the Quebec Nordiques. A hooking call against the Nordiques. And this penalty, Gary, comes at a tough time with 8 minutes and 15 seconds left in the period. They're down 2 goals and now down a man. Hockey Night in Canada will continue in a moment. A hooking penalty to Norwood of the Quebec Nordiques. There he is.
3rd round pick in 79. Played as junior for the Oshawa Generals. You'll see him just haul down Gorence. So the Flyers on the power play.
That's Wilson playing it in along the boards. McLeish got it to the side of the net for Holmgren. Marois was there to break it up for Quebec. He'll try to freeze it along the boards. He's successful. And they'll get a face-off in the Quebec zone with 8:03 left in the second period.
Incidentally, Rick McLeish is playing in his 100th playoff game tonight. And he's the leading scorer for the Flyers in playoff competition with 48 goals.
Holmgren chased it after it. It's flipped near the line. Barber knocked it down. That's Holmgren back to Linsman. Linsman being covered by Fatorik. The other side, McLeish sliding it out to Wilson coming in. Feeds it off to the side of the net. Linsman gets it back to Barber. Over here to Wilson. Wilson gets set to Barber again. Barber can't shoot it. McLeish right in. Great save. Rebound. Great save again by Bouchard. Gary, 2 big saves there.
Well, you saw the good wrist shot by McLeish. That's why he's out there for. He has one of the fastest releases in the league. But Bouchard just stuck that leg out. Flyers throwing that puck around, finding that open man. There's the guy, McLeish. Left-hand shot, playing the right-hand circle. Let the good shot go, and then Bridgman in front of the net. Barber, Linsman doing the rest.
Bouchard has done wonders for this team and this city since coming here. Barber near the blue line with Wilson into McLeish on a difficult angle. He won't shoot it from there. Takes a step or two out near the rim of the circle. Now to Wilson into McLeish again. Looks for the net. Sets it up in front. And it's cleared. Wilson coming in. The drive knocked down. And the Nordiques will move it out of the zone. Hunter got out across the line. Left it there. And then Rochefort shooting it to center with McLeish bringing it in again. McLeish jammed on the boards. It's Linsman trapping and Linsman closing in. Slides it over to Barber. Right in front of Linsman. He hit the goal post. And he scores. No. The red light did not go on. It hit the goal post. They're screaming up here goal, but maybe this one is. No, it's wide. Comes back to Barber. Play still underway. It looked like it was in and out. The fans still buzzing. Here's McLeish. McLeish gets it back. Wilson to McLeish. Sliding it in front again, and Bouchard is there to knock it away. Linsman back of the net, center to McLeish again. Hectic play around that net, and finally the Nordiques, Hunter clearing it down the ice. We'll get a chance to see that action for you once again up the other end. The penalty now is over. The Nordiques at full strength. Linsman speeding in. Up across the line, and it's broken up by Richard. He comes right back. Played it in on the wing. Went by Stastny and cleared again by Hill. To center. That's Gorence moving in. He knocked it over in front of Hill and went behind him. Here comes Bathe. He was stopped. Hill shooting it to the corner, and Norwood takes it. Norwood shooting it on the boards and down the ice.
Now, this is a line that Pat Quinn wants against the Stastny. Bridgman, Gorence, and Hill. Bridgman, the real solid checker. Gorence and Hill have tremendous speed to keep up with Stastny and Turtle. Now they got Richard out there, so they have made that line change.
Bridgman shooting it down the ice again. 5:25 left in the period. The Nordiques. Stastny coming in. Anton with it. gets it back to the line. Marois to Anton Stashny. Over here to Johnson. There's the shot, deflected away from the net. Bathe trying to clear it out. Quebec Nordiques applying more pressure now at this point in the second period. It's called. Live from the Coliseum in Quebec City, the Stanley Cup playoffs. Well, from that scramble down the other way, as you look at Bobby Clark, apparently it hit a Philadelphia defenseman in front of Bouchard. And then it went in behind it, but it did not go in. No goal.
A hold open net by McLeish. He doesn't normally miss shots like that.
Kerr in back of the net with Norwood tying him up. Barber has it now for Philadelphia, shooting it the other way. Erickson comes in. He's stopped. Bobby Clark has it. Clark, a high shot, easy save for Bouchard. 4:42 left in the second period. The Nordiques get it out to Anton Stashny. He didn't get too far, and they have to come back to regroup with Barber getting in front. Hoganson leads this one. Up to the line, hitting center. Peter Stashny brings it in. Tried to stick handle through, and the Flyers were back to send Propp away. Propp down with Kerr. Back for Clark. Clark took a shot. That's stopped by Richard, and Peter Stashny just fed it in front of his own net. Hoganson to Anton Stashny. Gets up to center. There's Peter bringing it in. He was stopped just inside the line by Wilson. And the Flyers shoot it down the ice. Philadelphia close checking now. Catching up to the Nordiques. Here's a shot by Lindsman that was wide in back of the net. Marois went in for it. He was stopped. Patoric gets it up near the line. Marois missed it a second time back of the net with 3:35 left in the period. Dropped the shot. That was blocked in front. And it's Marois coming down. On the wing, Cote cutting in front, Marois. And he didn't get the pass. Murray covered up for Philadelphia. Holmgren coming to center with Lindsman and Propp. Lindsman going in. Couldn't get a decent shot away as they checked on him. Now Lindsman again. Rochefort all over him. But Lindsman comes up with it. Still fighting for it. Took a weak shot. And Patoric has it for Anton Stashny. Starting out. Pretty good speed up now as he comes to center. Had it knocked away by Hill. Hill ran into his man Rochefort. Carries on for the net with Gorance. And he fanned on it in front of the goal. Good work by Al Hill. Gorance trying to get it loose now. Can't. Patoric at his own blue line. Lacroix goes down the right side. Missed the pass from Marois with 2:40 left in the period, and icing is called against Quebec. This Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Coliseum in Quebec City. Bob Cole, Gary Dornhofer, and Dave Hodge at the Coliseum in Quebec City for this game. Philadelphia and Quebec at a must game for Quebec Nordiques. They're trailing 3-1 with 2.5 minutes left in the second period. They're trying to get a goal now, Gary, and get themselves some life.
Well, the way things are looking, that next goal becomes so very important, especially for the Flyers. They'll give them that 3-goal cushion.
From center, Bathe shoots one in for Philadelphia. That's Norwood back of the net. In the corner, Lacroix. He couldn't get it out. Tried again, failed again. Hoganson goes in to help. Philadelphia now doing some body work for checking inside that Quebec blue line. Lacroix went after it. Here's Bathe, and there's something! And it was deflected in wide off the glass. They keep it in. Holding it along the boards, and again, little pushing between Busnick and Tardif at the blue line.
Shortly in the second intermission, I'll talk to Bill Barber, the Flyers' leading goal scorer in this playoff year with 5. And we'll have our exclusive report on Canada's World Championship victory over Finland in Sweden earlier today.
Gary, isn't that great news out of Sweden today?
Yes, it certainly is. And we understand that Yves Lafleur and Robinson, Esposito on their way out there.
Should be there now. They left Montreal this morning.
Bob, it's very evident that the Flyers at every opportunity are trying to make contact. Just throw a check or something in the Nordiques, try to slow them down. And if they were not doing that, I'm sure that the Nordiques would have more chances, more scoring chances. They're just not getting that free ice to wheel in. On occasions they are, but generally the Flyers have them controlled pretty well.
1:50 left in the second period. Peter Stastny missed a chance to get it out of his own zone. Clark going in with Kerr centering it through the crease. There's Barber. He dumped it in front. And Richard gets it up to Tardif. Tardif dropped it back for Richard. To get in across the line offside. Richard couldn't get it away from his skate.
Well, there's a guy that really worked during the summer to get himself in shape, came into shape at training camp, and what a marvelous season he had. You see in the second period now, LA and the Rangers are tied at 3. Pittsburgh has scored, but St. Louis still leading. 2 teams on the brink of elimination, actually 3 tonight, this one too.
1:33 left in the period. We're in the second. Philadelphia 3, Quebec Nordiques 1. Peter Stastny, Anton Stastny, and Tardif.
Well, the Stastnys, they're getting a lot of work. They're actually playing on 2 separate lines now. Stastnys are playing with Richard before. Now they got Tardif out there.
And Clark, Kerr, and Barber, the line against them. Tardif knocked one down. Tardif on the boards. He was stopped. Comes back to Marois, hopped over his stick. Marois has to hustle back. Now Peter Stastny dropped it back for Marois. And the Nordiques just circling around as Rochefort having some trouble setting it up. Now Tardif will try it. He goes to the right wing this time. He was bucked by Bobby Clark, and Clark cleared it to center with a minute left.
There's a good example right there. Just get in front of the man, and that's exactly what the Oilers did to the Canadians. They just frustrated them every opportunity. You have to do that to a good skating hockey club.
Long shot by Rochefort, gloved away by St. Croix, who hold it now with Stastny coming in, looking for maybe a rebound. St. Croix taking no chances.
See, the Nordiques are really not a team that can outfight you for the puck, you know, when they dump it in. They don't have the big forwards that can come up with it, but let them carry it in over the blue line. They can be a lot of trouble.
Getting back to that intermission coming up with that special report out of Stockholm, wouldn't it be something for Don Cherry and Team Canada to win the gold over there?
He would sure be in demand when he got back then, wouldn't he? There'd be probably about 5 or 6 job openings.
Puck goes in back of the Philadelphia goal. Hunter stopping it. Can't get a shot, though. And Murray shoots it down the ice with 34 seconds left. Coming in is Hoganson. He got there first, and icing is called against Philadelphia.
Good job by Hoganson to get back and touch that one for the face-off. Propp had a good burst of speed. Get another opportunity in the Flyers zone.
Listen, I'm not sure if that's a good play by Philadelphia's Murray, shooting it down with only 31 seconds left. It's 3-1. A goal now for Quebec, and
well, he had plenty of time just to flop it in the center ice area, and probably had a little bit too much on it, but every time you get that chance for a face-off in the other team's zone, a lot of concentration here on the face-off, but Holmgren is a real good face-off man.
Well, we watch Hunter facing off with Holmgren. Hunter gets it back. Norwood shot. It was knocked down in front and immediately cleared out. Holmgren just left it for Linsman. Gets it back. Holmgren on the boards with 20. And Hoganson back of the net for the Quebec Nordiques. Flyers send them up deep. Fortune. Cote, the Nordiques offside, and it's called back with only 9 seconds left in the period.
I was just saying that Holmgren is a good face-off man, but Hunter was a better one. That one, good draw by Hunter.
Actually, he put Norwood in a pretty good spot for that shot. But it was deflected away from Rick St. Croix.
But another ingredient there. Holmgren lost the draw, then he went down to block the shot.
Face off now in the Nordiques zone with 9 seconds left in the second period. Puck is dropped in. The Nordiques will clear it, getting it out to center. 4 seconds left. Hunter can't get time for a shot. There's the siren to end the second period. All the scoring occurring in the first. Murray, Wilson, and Gorance. at 7 seconds, 7:39 and 13:34. Patoric at 6:17, the Quebec goal. And so the score at the end of the second period, Philadelphia 3 and Quebec 1. Philadelphia Flyers 3 and the Quebec Nordiques 1. The shots on goal over 2 periods, 17 apiece. In that second period, Philadelphia outshooting the Nordiques 9-8. Nordiques outshot Philadelphia, therefore, in the first 9-8. There was no scoring in that second period. All the scoring in the first. Murray, Wilson, and Gorentz for Philadelphia. Patoric for Quebec. And we're talking about the shots, Gary. Only 3 shots from the forwards for Quebec Nordiques in that second period. What's happening?
Well, I think that certainly tells a story, Bob. What a good job the Flyers did at checking those forwards. Stayed right with them. When they crisscrossed, they picked up their proper men. They didn't allow any trouble in their own zone. And the Nordiques have to apply some pressure against Rick St. Croix. Make them work. Get guys in front of them. Screen them. Anything to to take his mind off of what's going on there. Just to take that concentration away from him.
Out of town, some more scores. Pretty good game going on down in New York tonight.
Well, the Rangers, they can do it. 10-3 the other night. You thought they'd romp tonight, but the Kings are playing them tough. Will this be Michel Bergeron's last coaching night? He doesn't want it to end. It's tough, though, when you lose the caliber of players that they've lost. Goulet, DuPont. Those are 2 guys.
Another big defenseman
that could really help them. But there's no stops barred now. The Nordiques will go right after the Flyers. Press, try to get some shots. I don't think the Flyer defense have really been put to the test of strong forechecking, but the Nordiques, they better do it in this third period.
Well, the wingers for Philadelphia have been coming back, and giving the defenseman that big chance to stand up there. More especially keeping the sharpshooters for the Nordiques along the boards and the outside, forcing the bad angle shot. Marois got it to the line. Now the Nordiques have it go down the ice. Bathe will be back first, touches it, and icing is called against Quebec. But you're right, Gary, that first goal against Bouchard at 7 seconds of the first period had to shake him up badly.
Yes, it certainly did. You look at Frank Bathe. Flyers picked him up as a free agent in '77. Broke in with Detroit back in '75. He's a hitter, not the best puck carrier in the world, but the guy is really tough behind his blue line. That's the kind of guys you have to force and try to make mistakes. Get on him right away.
Holmgren gets the draw, but the Nordiques hop on it quickly, trying to move it out, and they get it across the line to center. Linsman waits for Holmgren to come onside, then shoots it in. Hoganson takes a look, goes behind the net with it. This is Marois, starting from this right side to Hunter to the line. Patoric is bodied away from the puck by Busnick. Hunter lost it in the center ice area. Cote got it back. Now Marois comes across center. Hooked a high one in. It bounces into the corner, and Cote centered it. A quick shot was wide to the Philadelphia net. Back for Linsman of the Flyers. Hitting the line, going in with Propp. The trailer pass, and Propp missed it with Hunter taking over. For Marois to Hoganson. Bridgman forechecking. Off the boards behind the net for Hunter. Nice clearing play, gets it up to Patoric. From center, he shoots it in, and the Nordiques change as the play goes on. Nearing the second minute mark in the third period, 3-1 Philadelphia. Barber for Clark. He couldn't come up with it. The Nordiques nearly set it up on a break. It's called in the offside. From the Coliseum in Quebec City, this is Stanley Cup 81. They played a minute and 32 seconds of the third period. Philadelphia 3 and the Quebec Nordiques 1. Bridgman up for Bobby Clark, coming in with Barber on the left side. That's Clark near the line. Set it up for Barber. Barber bumped in on the boards by Peter Stachny. Now Clark leaves it for Murray. Murray gets in close. Bridgman out near the blue line to Clark. Bobby Clark at a bad angle, doesn't shoot it and cannot. He's spun around. And Anton Stachny missed that long pass. Barber again with Bridgman. Clark goes in front of the net. Barber took the shot. That stop. It goes bouncing in behind the net to the far side. Clark went in after it. But Norwood takes it back to the net. Now he leaves it. And Tardif comes away. Tardif gets away from Clark to center. Tardif up over the Philadelphia line. And finally, they knock it away from him. The Nordiques have to come back and regroup. Peter Stachny dropped it. And Tardif again circles back to his own zone. Fans getting a little restless as Hoganson played it up, and it goes right back inside the Quebec line. Hoganson has to come back. Now a pass is fed over here to Marois, to Hoganson. Here he is hitting the line, up with Hunter. Hunter gets near the Philadelphia line. It's knocked away by Busnick, out across, and then back inside the Philadelphia line, and that will be offside.
Well, the Flyers are still hanging onto that blue line, not allowing the Nordiques to cross over. You know, it's surprising, Bob, that the Nordiques wouldn't use those lively boards. You know, that pass into the corner, have the wingers at full speed, and, you know, a lot of times you can beat a defenseman by using that play, but they just don't do that.
Tell you mentioned lively boards. We've seen some crazy hops off the boards and behind either net tonight.
But you get a good bounce if that centerman throws the puck in the opposite corner and have that winger at full speed. He can make contact and get that thing.
Lacroix was turned around. Here's Richard. There's going to be a penalty. Philadelphia hooking penalty coming up. Lacroix was spun around, sent flying. And Faith, I think it's going off. There he is.
Well, they never get a better opportunity than this.
3:11 in this third period.
On Frank Bailey was beat. So he hauled him right the hook there, and Frank Bailey will be in the penalty box. That was Lacroix going in over the blue line. The only goal tonight by the Nordiques was scored by Patoric on the power play.
And that was at 6:17 of the opening period. All the scoring in this game in the first 20 minutes. 3 for Philadelphia, 1 for Quebec, and now Bathe of the Flyers is off for hooking. Wilson will try to clear it down. He does. Gets it ahead for Gorentz. His shot. That was stopped by Bouchard. Gorentz again. Fired it in back of the net, and Patoric waits now for Peter Stachny to his left. Comes to Norwood this way. Now to Stachny. Not a good pass on his skate. And Gorentz picked it up for Philadelphia to Murray to Wilson. Wilson shooting it down for the Flyers.
Now, they're not very well organized, the Nordiques. So very important to have that first good pass coming to your own zone. That sets the whole line away.
Turning around at the blue line, Norwood, Cote. He might have some room. Does. Gets up near the Philadelphia line. Cote goes in. His low shot wide. Norwood shoots it in back of the net. Murray looked as if he'd slap it the other way. He didn't. He fooled everybody back there. And then the Flyers get it up to center ice. Patoric's pass. Peter Stachny back to Patoric. Robbie Patoric coming down on this side of Peter Stachny. Going in. Across the line. He cuts for the net. Great speed. Broke in front and then lost control of it in the crease. And Bridgman into the center ice area, ragging it with 40 seconds left in the penalty to Bay. Wilson again shoots it into the Quebec zone. You know, they haven't had a shot in this period, the Quebec Nordiques, so far. Here's Bobby Clark intercepting. He shoots it into the corner. Tardif went after it, and Patoric brings it up. Left it in front of the net for Tardif. 20 seconds left in the penalty to Bay, the Philadelphia. And Tardif was stopped by Clark. Clark couldn't clear it on the first try, and he stays with it. And down he gets to the center ice. Norwood for Quebec. Into the middle. This is Richard. He left it there. And now the penalty is over. Philadelphia at full strength. Philadelphia 3 and Quebec Nordiques 1, nearing the 6-minute mark of the third period. Holmgren stopping it inside his own line. Richard carries on against Busnick. Richard lost his stick. The Nordiques in control, back of the net. Hunter looks for it. Now he comes in to help. Tardif jabbing at it, but they hold it with their skates. Little pushing and shoving back there. I guess more penalties coming up now. Not too serious so far. Players fell right away. Is that Holmgren down there with Hunter?
Holmgren had the puck against the boards, and Hunter was jabbing his stick, trying to break it free, not allow Holmgren to hold it for the face-off. I don't think much developed there. Bruce Hood called the play right away.
Maybe no penalties. Tonight's Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Coliseum in Quebec City.
About this time every year, my partner and I head out on our annual cattle drive. Used to get pretty rugged, but now we got this new Ford club wagon. Told my partner about the club because it's strong body-on-frame construction, twin I-beam front suspension, and very good mileage. But heck, what's a cattle drive without stereo and captain's chairs, huh? Of course, we'll also take along our Ford Supervan. The extra load length really helps on a cattle drive.
Cattle drive?
Well, she'd hate a cattle car.
See your Ford or Mercury dealer.
Bob Cole along with Gary Dornhofer and Dave Hodge here at the Coliseum in Quebec City. Rather mild affair down behind the Philadelphia net. No penalties handed out. Stastny, and Tardif for Quebec. Holmgren to the line. It's stopped near center, and Marois comes from the Quebec blue line. Across center, he shoots it in. St. Croix out of the net to stop it for Bathe. Bathe was slow in moving it ahead. Then when he did, it was from the glove. The net's called back.
You know, Coach Bergeron, he's using the Stastny just about in every other shift now. First with Tardif, then with Richard. It's just amazing the stamina that those two guys have.
Well, this is it, Gary. It's 14:05 left in the third period. It's now or never for the Quebec Nordiques. They've had a good year, especially the last half of the season. They were marvelous. They came out of nowhere, very successful, moved up the ladder. Here they are in the preliminary round against the Philadelphia Flyers.
Well, they do play an exciting brand of hockey, and it just goes to show you what good checking will do to, you know, a team that likes to carry that puck, skate with it, and make those plays. The Flyers have shut them down so far.
Now they cut it back to Richard. His weak shot is stopped easily by Wilson. Lacroix has to hustle back. Marois got in behind him as Lacroix had missed it, and here's Marois coming out. A pass to Hunter. He tipped it near center, or did he? Goes all the way down the ice, and icing called against Quebec. I guess Hunter is good bait in there, Gary.
I like the spunk of that kid. I mean, he plays. He comes to play. And, you know, the rest of the players, they seem to respond to him. Hunter's name always comes up as a real leader of this hockey club. And he was racing down there trying to save that icing call for the Nordiques.
They want to get at Hunter, no question about that, but the officials are in there quickly, and they manage to cool them off. This is Hockey Night in Canada from the Coliseum in Quebec City. Okay, penalties have been handed out this time. Hunter of Quebec and Erickson of Philadelphia.
You know, when you look at Hunter, who is in his rookie season in the National Hockey League, it reminds you a lot of Bobby Clark when Clark first came to the Flyers. Just all-out effort. And there comes Erickson after the collision against the boards. But he was the sixth best Nordique in scoring with 64 points and played in every single game.
So now they're 5 aside with 13:45 remaining in the third period. These penalties coming at 6:15. Roughing penalties. And Barber in back of the net. From the corner, Barber looking around. Gets it out near the line. It goes by Wilson down the ice. Patoric going in to watch Wilson. Murray's pass to Clark. Barber with him. Barber couldn't hold it. Rochefort back in his own zone for Hoganson. He gets it up across the line. It's all Philadelphia. They're in complete control.
Well, it's very difficult to make plays when as soon as you touch the puck, there's a red or orange shirt right on top of you, and that's what the Flyers have done tonight and been very successful.
This is Barber now forechecking with Bobby Clark, who lost his stick, but Barber holds it on the boards with a skate. He was being checked by Hoganson, and they get a whistle. A minute and 22 seconds left in the penalties. 13:06 in the third period.
Well, there's a guy that has multi-talent, Bill Barber. 9th season now with playoff action. He's a leading scorer this year with 43 goals. And spread that out. 21 goals. Spectrum, 22 on the road. So this goes to show you that Barber plays well both on home and on the road.
It is Eriksson, by the way, of Philadelphia in the penalty box. And Hunter of Quebec. 3-1. Philadelphia leading. And Lacroix dumped it back of the net for Marois. Up to Peter Stastny. He rolled it the other way. Now across the line, Lacroix comes in for Quebec, driving for the net. Again, kept on the outside of the pass. Hopping over Marois' stick, goes back into the Quebec zone. There's offside called, and that's disorganization.
Now that's or disorganization, frustration, but that's just the way it's been going for the Nordiques. Had a good rush going there, gained control in the Flyers zone, and then the puck just hopped over the stick of Marois. What an addition he's been to this hockey club. Number 22 can really skate, handle the puck so well. You know, there was a question about the young kids on this Nordique hockey club, but I guess that goes all out the door. They have handled themselves well. You talk about youngsters that have proven themselves. Just look at the Edmonton Oilers. They came of age in one playoff round.
And counting. Murray slapped that one from the blue line. Hoganson turns in the zone. Over to the far side, up to the line, and they get it as far as center, decide to backtrack it again, and Tardif lugs it a bit. Tardif is coming in with Patoric. Tardif to the corner, got by Wilson, still with it. That's Tardif centering it. It comes in the crease. And very calmly, Wilson plucked it out and cleared it to Gorentz. Shooting it in for Bridgman. Hoganson goes back. The goaltender, Bouchard, tried to clear it. Hoganson now starting away at the 8-minute mark of the third period. Hoganson going in. He gets across the line and stops with it. Shoots it into the corner. Bridgman went after it. Left it there. Now the Flyers organizing this play to center is Gorentz. He's in across the line, dropped it out over the line, and it's called. And the offside is Bays carried it in. Again, some words, little pushing.
Tardif and Bridgman. Tardif had really made a good rush down the ice and then collided with Bridgman behind the net. And they have a few words. The Rangers have taken the lead in the third period with a chance to advance to the next round. St. Louis and Pittsburgh are tied. The Penguins trying to hang in there desperately.
And here, it's 3-1 Philadelphia. Nearing the 9-minute mark of the third period. I'm Bob Cole with Gary Dornhofer and Dave Hodge. You're Michel Bergeron for a moment, Gary. What do? You're down 2. Little less than 12 minutes remaining in regulation time.
Well, we had still talked, Bob, that they have to force or get some shots on St. Croix. That has not materialized in this third period. He has had an easy time of it. But now's the time to perhaps take a few chances, send 2 or 3 guys in there. You know, it depends. If the puck is shot in the corner and the Flyers have 2 men in the corner, perhaps send 3 in. But you have to have an advantage in manpower and make sure you come up with that puck. But it's been very noticeable that the Nordiques, when they shoot it in, have not been successful coming up with a puck in the corners.
Well, you said it earlier, and I think I alluded to it from the first period. The defensemen for Philadelphia have been keeping the forwards to the outside
Therefore, their only play into the zone has been able to get it back to the blue line, and most of the shots have been from the defenseman and from a long way out.
That's right, and you got to give the Flyers credit, because the Nordiques, after that 2-0 win, would have a lot of confidence. They felt that they could win tonight and go into Philadelphia in that 5th game.
With a score, Philadelphia 3 and Quebec 1. This is Stanley Cup 81. Very sad news to pass along. The death today in Las Vegas. Joe Louis, former world heavyweight champion, died of a heart attack today in Las Vegas.
Probably the greatest of all time.
For my money, number 1. Won the crown in 1937 from Jimmy Braddock, and went on to defend his crown many, many times. Joe Louis, dead of a heart attack in Las Vegas. Lacroix for the Quebec Nordiques coming out. Marois takes it to the blue line up to center. Tardif goes in, took the shot. See that crazy hop off the boards, Gary? Almost the same kind of situation at the 7-second mark in the first period when Bouchard was fooled. St. Croix was nearly fooled there. And the sticks go up again around the net.
Well, that's one thing about the goaltenders. You know, you have to be so alert. You don't always have to worry about shots from the wingers coming down the wing, but also when the puck comes off the boards. We saw a great example of that of Bouchard in the first 7 seconds when the puck beat him between the legs from that carom, and that time St. Croix was really fighting it. But we'll have penalties. Dale Hunter back in the box again, along with Paul Holmgren.
It's bad when you see the sticks go up. And that's what is happening again. High sticking penalties. Holmgren and Hunter. A little bit of woodwork and slashing penalties called. At 8:30 of this 3rd period. So again, 5 aside.
You know, that could help the Nordiques playing 4 aside to get the 2 Stastnys out there. Give them a little more ice room.
Into the corner, Stastny centered it. That one nearly caught the far corner. Just missed. Totoric was tied up in the crease. Now Marois gets it back to his own line. The Nordiques organizing. Totoric missed that long pass from Lacroix. Wilson tried to push one down to Bridgman. He missed him with the pass. It'll be icing with Lacroix coming back. And 10:56 left to play in regulation time.
Now we look at Pierre Lacroix, 5th round pick in '79. You usually find him out in that power play all the time, the way he handles that puck. Just like another forward back there.
Richard is number 23. Couldn't get the draw. Back of the net, Murray for Philadelphia with Wilson. Bridgman. And Gorans are the penalty killers up front. That's Bridgman. Over on the boards against Richard. Staying with it. Now Richard gets loose. Coming out. A long pass stopped by Bay. Anton Stastny couldn't get it. And the Nordiques have to come back. Lacroix around the net, nearing the halfway mark of this 3rd period. Lacroix's pass stopped by Bobby Clark. He gets it ahead to Barber, and Barber is bumped by Marois. He got loose again to Bobby Clark. Back to Barber, and the pass was behind him. Anton Stastny coming out with Richard. Up over the Philadelphia line. The shot hit Bays, and the defenseman just carries it to the corner and now starts away with it. Gets up to the line. Down the left wing he comes. Shoots it in across the line, and Hoganson has it for Quebec to Rochefort. He's beaten by Clark and Barber. The shot is grabbed by Bouchard, but Clark and Barber ever dangerous. There's Barber again. This time he loses it. And Rochefort goes back to the net, turns. Can he get away from Clark? I doubt it. Barber comes up with it. Then he lost it. Holgensen getting out with Anton Stastny. Up to the right side and over the line. Tried to cut for the net. Wilson had him take. 9:20 left in the third period. Philadelphia 3 and Quebec Nordiques 1. Long pass by Holmgren. Went in wide. Cleared off the boards down the ice. Stastny coming in. Gets away from one check. Lost the puck though as Eriksson took it away from him. Philadelphia flying in again as Propp. Winding up. The shot. Not a good one. Bounced off the boards. Hopped in front of the net. Lacroix covered on Holmgren. Lindsman went in to help. Now Tardif. Tardif gets away from Lindsman. He'll have to do it again and does. With a pass down the wing to Hunter. Lindsman coming back. Hunter falls. Tardif goes in and they hold it on the boards and get a face-off in the Philadelphia zone. Hockey Night in Canada will continue in a moment. A startling statistic here in this third period. We have 12:20 gone.
No shots for the Nordiques in this period.
And only 2 for Philadelphia.
An interesting statistic also, Bob, that in the third period, in the 3 games, the Nordiques have only had 15 shots on net in the third period.
To center. This is Hill. He let one go, and that's a shot on. Dan Bouchard, no trouble, an easy save. Cote hitting Tardif at center ice. He's up over the line, tried to go in around Busnick and couldn't. Tardif now running into Busnick. Bathe was checked on the boards by Peter Stastny. And again, they get a whistle in the Philadelphia zone with 8:08 remaining.
Well, I've been impressed with Mark Tardif tonight. He has been the best of the forwards for the Nordiques. Handling that puck, he has tremendous speed. See Stastny, Peter Stastny, the older brother. And there is Tardif doing the forechecking. And in comes Peter Stastny to force the face-off. But again, you don't get the shots on net, you don't score any goals. It's simple as that. Well, what do they say in baseball, Bob? Good pitching does it to good hitting, and you're seeing an example of good checking, how it can just dominate a hockey game the way the Flyers have shut down the Nordiques in the last 2 periods.
Up to this point in the hockey game, 8:08 left of the third period. The total shots 20-17. Favor of Philadelphia. Not a lot of scoring chances in this game. Tight checking. Barber playing it out to the line to Clark. Coming in with Bridgman. Bobby Clark up over the line. Cuts along the blue line. Dropped it back to Murray. Barber got in front. He took a shot. Bouchard gloved that and threw it back at the net. Richard for Quebec. Up to center. His pass hit Patoric. Skates. Then Richard gets it back again. Hit up the blue line and sent flying. Hunter going over there. Barber took it away from him. Now Wilson slides it back to Murray. 7:30 left in the third period. This is Wilson up to center ice, and he shoots it in for Philadelphia. Bouchard back of the net. One high on the glass, and Patoric comes out. Patoric against Busnick. Couldn't move it. Richard was covered up the line. And again, Holgensen spun around by Propp. Philadelphia in control of the center ice area. Busnick shoots it in for the Flyers. And the Quebec Nordiques now running out of time. Just 6:55 left in the third period. 3-1 is the score. Philadelphia leading. Holgensen's pass to Norwood. He gets it ahead to Tardif. Couldn't get by the linesman. And the Flyers play it up to the center ice area. Lacroix through the middle. This is Anton Stastny with Peter and Lacroix going in after it. St. Croix tried to play it out himself. Tardif takes it to the corner. Tardif away from Murray, centered it. And Stastny couldn't control it. Now Lacroix winding up. The shot was blocked, and it was cleared out over the line. Back in, and that's offside. Live from the Coliseum in Quebec City, the Stanley Cup playoffs. Bob Cole and Gary Dornhofer, along with Dave Hodge, at the Coliseum in Quebec City, as Lacroix put a long shot in on the net, and that's the first one in this period for Quebec from center ice, from a long way out. Lacroix tipped in by Fatorik. Wilson slaps at it. It comes by Lacroix to center ice again. Rochefort ahead to Cote on the left side. And they have to back up to get organized. The Flyers doing a noble job checking.
You notice Flyers always have two men back, never giving the Nordiques, the wingers, open ice. They always have the guys covered, and that leaves two defensemen to handle the puck carrier, and they've been very effective doing that.
Well, the Flyers are all back now, protecting that lead, and I suppose Philadelphia is probably one of the better teams in the league, Gary, in protecting a 2-goal lead.
Well, ever since day one in Philadelphia, the strategy has always been to make contact when you're checking. There's no easy way. The guys that stick check, they're going to be burned having goals scored against you, but you make contact, step in front of it. It's very difficult to skate over somebody, and that's always been the strategy of the Flyers.
When you're protecting a lead like this, a 2-goal lead with a little over 5 minutes left, it is imperative. Everybody has a certain job to do. Every man has to do that job.
Well, for a winger, when you lose possession and you're in the offensive zone, right away you say, where is my man? And you pick him up, and it's important you take him all the way to your net.
Busnick, back of the net for Philadelphia. On the boards, and it slides back inside the Quebec line.
Bob, we understand that the Rangers will advance. They defeated the LA Kings 6-3.
The New York Rangers over LA, and they're on to the quarterfinal. Peter Stastny trying to do something about Philadelphia advancing now, with the Flyers leading 3-1. Only 5:08 left now.
There was a good example. You had Busnick, Clark, Barber all at that blue line. Everybody back, and just stop Stastny. There's no way that he's going to get through three players. And it's been a frustrating evening for the Nordiques.
There's the time remaining. Philadelphia leading by 2. They got a goal at 7 seconds. Murray in the first period. Then Fatorik tied it at 6:17. Wilson the go-ahead at 7:39. And at 13:34, Gorentz. 3-1, all in the first period. It's been scoreless ever since, and now 5 minutes remaining. The time running down on the Quebec Nordiques for the 80-81 season, unless they can muster an attack and do something about it, and this is not the way to do it. Look at Bridgman hustling back. That's icing called against Quebec.
Well, sometimes, Bob, you send your centerman or your winger out of the zone. The defenseman has the puck. You throw that long up-ice pass. Larry Robinson, one of the best at it. Dennis Potvin, what a series he had against the Leafs. Set his wingers and out of the zone many a time. Nordiques trying that, anything to get them with a few shots on net. But then it's very important when a winger comes out of the zone, either the winger has to come out with him or defenseman just pull out.
So let's see now. The Los Angeles Kings are eliminated. The Montreal Canadiens are eliminated. Toronto Maple Leafs are eliminated. The Vancouver Canucks are eliminated. Your turn.
Boston Bruins.
All right.
Just testing me. And it's a 3-3 tie still in Pittsburgh. St. Louis and Pittsburgh tied at 3.
And the Quebec Nordiques on the brink of it here in the Coliseum in beautiful Quebec City, capital of La Belle Province. 4:45 remaining. With Tardif back of the net, Bridgman holding him along the boards. I guess, Gary, now that's what the Flyers will do. Stay close to everybody. Stop the play when they can.
Absolutely, and Pat Quinn is telling them, whatever you do, don't get caught. We don't need any more goals, but make sure we have those men back. But we still have to force the Nordiques. Don't give them time to set up and come out as a unit. Get on top of them. Always make contact.
I noticed their forecheckers, the Philadelphia forecheckers, now, Gary, are not going in quite as deep when Quebec starts to come out.
Well, so Bob, if the Nordiques have good possession, there's no sense sending 2 men in, or both of them get caught. That's when the wings are covered and then just one man trying to do the checking.
Everybody comes back. Clark on this face-off. Let's watch him. I don't know how he does it, but he does it most of the time. What's he got? Something like 90-95% going. We're not going to get a chance this time. Scampanella waves him out. Bridgman upended. Airwall goes back of the net. Hoganson played it up to the line. There's Clark checking his man. Here's Hunter picking in. Scores! Hunter, an electrifying little hockey player. Ripped that shot. What's that, the second shot of the period on St. Croix? He couldn't handle it.
That's been the first good scoring chance that Nordiques have had since the first period. And Hunter with his speed. There's that good pass going to Hunter, and he just breaks right past the defenseman, Terry Murray, and lets that shot go. Now, St. Croix got a piece of it, but it trickled home. And you know, sometimes from a goaltender, not getting any action may lose a little concentration. But the fans, they are applauding the Nordiques. Let's watch St. Croix. Gets a piece of it, and it bounces by him in the net, and it is 3-2 with 4:25 left. And the Nordiques, even though they have been outplayed, have still got a chance.
Got a chance? I hope to tell you, listen to this crowd here in the Coliseum.
See now, Bob, all of a sudden, the fans have thrown stuff on the ice. The ushers have to come up and clean up the ice. Now, this stops the momentum of the Nordiques.
Crazy.
The worst thing that could happen.
There's Hunter. A lot of coaches around the league would like to have a type like that, Hunter. Not very popular, I know it. Listen. Tardif gets an assist. 15:35 the time. Hoganson also gets an assist. But Hunter electrifying the crowd, and it's 3-2. Philadelphia. Well, you were just pointing out, Gary, about don't let anybody get a break, and all of a sudden there's Hunter going down the left side. Mind you, he had great speed, and he jumped ahead of his man.
He got the perfect pass, and it just went by Terry Murray. See, Terry Murray was standing still. Hunter was in full stride. That's why he was able to beat him and let the shot go from the top of the circle. But probably St. Croix should have had that one, and perhaps not having any action this third period. A little shaky on that one. He got a piece of it, but it trickled in the net.
Only the second shot on goal.
You know, you ask goaltenders, they would rather face 8 to 10 shots up here rather not than have no shots at all.
Well, all right, Philadelphia now leading by just 1 goal on that sparkling effort by Hunter. Here's Tardif coming in again with Hunter. Tardif into the corner against Busnick. Bathe on the boards for Barber. Tipped down the ice. Might go on the net. No, just wide of the net. Icing called against Philadelphia. This Stanley Cup playoff game is coming to you from the Coliseum in Quebec City. 3 minutes, 57 seconds remaining in regulation time. The Philadelphia Flyers 3 and the Quebec Nordiques 2. 3-1 after the first period. No scoring in the second. The Nordiques have scored here in the third. Stastny couldn't keep it in. Bridgman breaking out. He's with Barber. Bridgman got up over the line. Barber goes in front of the net. There's Bridgman in on the boards. Hoganson hit him. Barber comes in, and they get a whistle for a face-off in the Quebec zone. Well, Philadelphia, Gary, played that waiting game, trying to check everybody. It failed. Back to the drawing board. Now their strategy has to change.
Yeah, absolutely. Number one, you can't hang back and let the Nordiques come at you. So the Flyers have to do probably a better forward checking job in the Nordiques zone. And what's really important, you notice in the last play, Barber probably might have had a chance to center it out in front of the net, but he elected to hang on to it. If you're not 100% sure of your man getting it, freeze it in the corner. Worst that can happen is a faceoff.
Here we go. Murray shoots it back of the net. Comes over here. Prop keeping it in. Holmgren tried to center it. Anton Stastny couldn't get it out. Lacroix in back of his own net. Holmgren bumped him to the ice. Here's a drive by Prop. That hit the side of the net. Prop again. Shoots it around the net and Rochefort for Quebec. Fedoruk played it up through the middle in behind. Peter Stastny. 3 minutes, 5 seconds left in regulation time. 3-2, Philadelphia. Offside called at the Quebec blue line. Prop and Anton Stastny having words.
Well, you notice how the Flyers have picked up the tempo on forechecking, putting on a little more pressure against the Nordiques. 3:04, plenty of time. It's amazing how just one goal will pick up the tempo. Quebec looked hopeless, and all of a sudden they're right back in there.
Holmgren is on with Prop and Linsman against Hunter, Richard, and Tardif. This Hunter, Richard, and Tardif has been a pretty good line in this period. Not many great chances right directly on the net, but they lugged the puck inside the Philadelphia line pretty well. And Hunter, of course, got the goal. It made it 3-2. Here's Hunter again, going in. Great chance to rebound, they score! Richard! Coliseum here in Quebec City. Hunter and Richard behind him. 3 shots, 2 goals. Watch Hunter go split the defense. And then Richard going in for the rebound. Nobody picked up Richard. Holmgren was behind him, couldn't catch up. But the Flyer defense not staggered. That allowed Hunter to go right through the middle. St. Croix off balance, and Richard, who was not checked, puts the puck in the net. And what a comeback by the Nordiques. Fantastic. Everybody skates by the puck and Richard just puts it in the net. And the fans are hauling and screaming. They're standing up. This is fantastic. It was so calm for a while in this third period with the Flyers leading 3-1 after the first period. Held it through the second and halfway through this third. Then all of a sudden, Hunter, a goal, and now this one, and look what's happened.
Are you ready for overtime?
Why not?
But again, you know, it was the speed of Dale Hunter and able to go right through the middle of the defense. That's why, you know, your defensemen, if they're on a horizontal plane, you know, you have to be staggered. If Hunter beats the first guy, then the second defenseman always has a crack at him. But look at that, he goes right through the middle. And then Richard, now he should have been picked up. That second man becomes so dangerous. Got the rebound, and we got a tie game.
Well, that was Murray trying to check on Richard, but Richard is not bad with the wheels. There's Pat Quinn. Rather dejected Pat Quinn now back there.
That other guy you saw was Jimmy Watson. He's out for the year, had a head back surgery. But the Flyers are just flabbergasted right now. Can't believe what has happened to them. There's your goal scorer, Jacques Richard.
17:08, the time of the tying goal for the Quebec Nordiques.
Well, when you score over 50 goals during the regular season, the guy becomes very dangerous and caps it off by giving the Nordiques a tie. And boy, what a break for them. They're right there now.
2:52 left. This is going to be nervous time. Bathe. Coming in for Philadelphia. Laid it in back of the net. Philadelphia digging for it. Stastny couldn't move it out. Bathe took a shot. Knocked down by Rochefort. Here's Hill intercepting. Hill had it knocked off his stick. Peter Stastny coming out with Fedoruk and Anton Stastny. Dropped it to Anton Stastny to Fedoruk. He couldn't center it. He fell. Hill takes it back to the net for the Philadelphia Flyers. Off the boards, it comes near the line. And the Flyers down to center. That pass hit Gorance. Shoots it in back of the net with 2 minutes left to play in regulation time. Score is tied at 3. Quebec fighting for their lives to stay alive in this preliminary round against Philadelphia Flyers. Gorin's coming in. He was blinked along the boards by Rochefort. There's Hill centering it to Gorentz. He couldn't do much. Now Bouchard hangs on to it. And it's called with 1:48 left to play in regulation time. Here's one man with pressure on. Daniel Bouchard. Down at the other end, of course, Rick St. Croix.
Both goaltenders. You know, the Nordiques have everything going for them right now. The momentum, the confidence, but, you know, sometimes you get over-eager. You're in that offensive zone and you forget to have that trailer back. It's important now the Nordiques, they don't get caught on that 3-on-2 against them.
Scoring play, Richard, 17:08 from Hunter and Lacroix. There's Bouchard. Here comes the face-off to the right of him. 1:48 left. It comes to Barber. Look out! Barber's backhand shot was blocked by Hoganson. Hunter couldn't get it out. Hoganson will with Tardif. Up the line. Clark watching him. Marois for Hunter for Tardif. Here's Richard again. Richard shoots. St. Croix stepped back. Hunter went flying by in front of the goaltender and fell. And the play is called. 1:28 left.
Now, Bob, the face-offs become so very important, and every centerman, whenever he goes to that draw, he makes sure that the line and the defensive position are set up exactly the way he wants them. He's the captain out there, and if somebody isn't in position, it's very important that he directs them the way he wants them.
You know, Michel Bergeron has this team playing in an interesting way. It's almost obvious every game out. They wait. They're very patient. They take their time on power plays, whatever. Other than power plays, they will still not give it away and wait for that one great chance.
Well, actually, in the last 2 periods, it's only been about 3 shifts that have really done it for them. Hunter involved in both of them.
Hunter, I think, is waved out.
You know, up to that point, the Flyers had played a perfect game. I mean, they checked as well as anybody could check, and here they find themselves tied.
1:28 left in regulation time. Will we have overtime tonight? We'll know in a little while. Quebec shooting it back of the net, and Wilson for Clark. Bobby Clark tried to slap it out. Couldn't. But Barber takes it up to center ice. Bouchard fell. Got away from Bridgman as he did. Puck is fed back inside the Philadelphia line. Here comes Hunter and Bridgman. Hunter muscled him off the puck. Went back of the net and ran into Wilson. Can't believe this young Hunter. At the center, Clark tried to hit Barber. We have less than a minute remaining. In regulation time, Hoganson coming out. He has to stop, lost control. Now he's away. Got by Lintzman. Bumps running in a crazy hop. And St. Croix had fits, but covered up. Philadelphia unnervingly sent it back down the ice. Icing called against the Philadelphia Flyers with 39 seconds remaining in regulation time. The score is tied at 3.
I couldn't believe the Flyers would ice that puck. You know, that's the last thing you want is a face-off in your own zone. Boy, that crazy hopper there by Hoganson had St. Croix beat. It just bounced into the corner, but had it been on net.
Anton Stastny with Hunter. Dale Hunter is number 32. Now that's Patorek now coming out. He'll take this face-off. On the left side. The left side of Patorek. It's Cote. Park at the line is Lacroix on this side. Rochefort on the other side. They fall on it right away. 37 seconds left. Patorek, number 38. There's Lintzman talking with him and the official. Set to go. Important face-off to the left of St. Croix. Here's Stastny. Gets it back near the line. They just barely keep it in. Bay lost it against Cote. Lesnick gets it back. Racing out for Philadelphia. 25 seconds left. 23 seconds left. Linsman, 20 seconds left. Linsman shooting. Oh, Mr. Man! That was a deflected shot, let me tell you. Bouchard had his arm been another 2 inches shorter, he would not have been able to get it. He was going the other way.
Bouchard, absolutely right, Bob, but watch this thing change direction on a deflection. No, we're not going to watch it, but Bouchard stuck out that glove hand and stretched as far as he could stretch.
Here it is.
Here it comes. And just got a piece of it.
Now, the important thing, he was moving to his right. And the puck was redirected far to his left.
All right, Bouch, you made up for the first one that you let in the 7-second mark. Fantastic anticipation and reaction.
17 seconds left. Philadelphia got the draw, and they keep it in. Murray slides it into the corner. Hunter will try to feed it down the ice. Not too smart with just 6 seconds left. Icing called against Quebec.
Well, watch for Bobby Clark to come out of this face-off.
No question. Here he comes. And Barber. So he'll be cocked behind Clark. Clark naturally will try to set him up. Well, Barber has that great shot.
Right, it's going to be time for one shot. I wouldn't be surprised to see McLeish, who is a left-hand shot, playing the right side and come from that position into the slot area for the wrist shot.
Okay, Clark, Gary, is going to back to his left or right or directly behind him. Barber is moving behind him now. Is that
all right? He's going to go draw it to Barber.
Barber is ready. Clark is ready. It's dropped in. Clark kicked it back, but Hoganson was there. He tears it down the ice. Overtime, folks.
All right. Well, what a comeback by the Nordiques. What a fantastic comeback. Hunter, though, really sparked that. Very disappointing for Rick St. Croix.
Well, you know, he has been sparking them all evening, even though he hasn't been able on any scoring play, but the way he's been hitting and forechecking and skating, and it's almost justice that he did get that break.
Absolutely, Bob, and it's very refreshing that a youngster can come in here and really play and perform and earn his pay. And now Hunter certainly exemplifies that, the way he's handled himself, not only tonight, but in the whole series and the whole year.
And a great play by Richard to even follow in behind that play that had been stopped in front. There was Richard for the rebound. Always smart.
Bob, a good example that not always is the puck carrier their most dangerous man. It seems that everybody's attracted to the puck carrier, and instead of watching that trailer. Richard, the trailer, we saw Holmgren coming behind, just not able to catch him, and perhaps Holmgren slowed down just a little bit, and that allowed Richard to come in there and pick up the rebound. But it was 2 shifts, and it was a tie ball game because the Nordiques only got 4 shots in that period.
Well, we had 4 goals in the first period, 3 of them by Philadelphia, and then no scoring at all in the second. And it looked like we were going to get through the third without any goals, Gary, didn't it? Oh. Until Hunter exploded.
Well, like we were saying, Bob, it was a perfect game for the Flyers. They were playing up to that point, but it just goes to show you, you know, you can't give up at any time. You just keep right on plugging until you finally get those breaks the Nordiques did.
So, regulation time. It's tied at 3, and here's Dave Hodge.
Rookie Dale Hunter at 15:35, and then his assist set up Jacques Richard's tying goal at 17:08. Perhaps the only thing the Flyers did short of perfection while they had that 3-1 lead was fail to increase it. They certainly held the Nordiques' chances to a minimum prior to the goal by Hunter, but the Flyers had their chances and didn't capitalize on them. So that keeps us here with an overtime period coming up. And we will have coming up Don Cherry's Coach's Corner overtime version, taped before the Team Canada coach left for Sweden. This is Stanley Cup 81 from the Coliseum in Quebec City.
Hey, little brother, how'd you do that trick?
It's all in the step. I taught him everything he knows. Yeah, sure.
Don, one thing to remember about overtime is that it's not existed in the regular season. And for some players who are getting set to play this overtime, they've never played it, or they haven't played it in a few years. Therefore, does it become important for you to go into that room and say certain things to tell them, if nothing else, that this is something that they'd better be prepared for and they haven't had in a while?
Well, what I did was the playoffs. I went in and I left them alone. I never talked to them for about the first 8 minutes because they're tired. They've gone through, like you say, 80 games. They're into the playoffs now. They're fatigued, even mentally fatigued. If you leave them alone, it's very quiet in the rooms going into overtime. They're very quiet, like it's almost like death, I'll tell you. And you leave them alone and just go up to individual guys and tell individual guys, if you ever go in and try to whip them up, you're in deep trouble.
Okay, overtime games recently, anyway, have seemed to end rather quickly. And this is obviously because teams have tried to do that. You like that approach, to get it over with as fast as possible, win or lose quickly?
Well, this all started with Scotty Bowman, and I noticed it against us about 4 or 5 years ago. Shiro started it too, but Bowman was the guy. What he would do is load up 2 lines, and he'd try to get it over. I noticed he was trying to get it over. In the old days, he used to go back 3 or 4 penalty. They'd go back into periods. It'd go on at 2 o'clock in the morning. Not now. They try to get it over. We tell them, I told the teams, listen, we're either going to lose it or we're going to win it in the first 5 minutes. And you'll notice most games now, they just go out and they just fire wagon the whole thing, try to get it over. Most games are over by the 6-minute mark.
Now, what if you don't have a team that has scored well all season long, a team that has struggled to get goals? The Minnesota North Stars, one team that comes to mind that went most of the season and didn't have anybody at the 30-goal mark. Is it still wise to do that?
Yes, it is. I'll tell you why. If it's like in football, if the other guy has the football all the time in their overtime games, they're going to score. And if the other team, if you let Montreal have the puck and you lay back, sooner or later they're going to kill you. So you might as well go right at them. You might as well go all out right at them. Even if you don't get many goals, it's the only way you're going to win. If you lay back on the good teams, they're going to murder you.
How important is the official and your supposed knowledge of him? There are some who might call a penalty and others have a reputation for letting things go, especially in overtime. Do you stress that?
Well, no, you can't. If you start worrying about the referee, you're in trouble, you know, and sometimes they'll call things, and we had a few called on us that one series that I was a little upset on, but you can't worry about it. If you go in the dressing room and say, now look, watch it, you're going to get them all off. So you just forget the referee if he's not there, if you ever can.
Thank you very much to Don Cherry, and that is our overtime version of Coach's Corner.
Gary Dornhofer, here we go again. Overtime once more. Quebec Nordiques. A real exciting third period, thanks to the work of Hunter and Richard.
Well, Hunter, we can't say enough about him, Bob. He has really impressed us, and I think his enthusiasm certainly showed out there, and very instrumental in taking charge and getting into that opening. But I still think St. Croix should have had his shot. You know, he was at the top of the circle, but it just handcuffed one in the net, and it seemed that was the spark that they needed. But on that tying goal, you have to pick up that trailer. You know, Richard came in from the blue line. Holmgren was behind him, not able to catch up. He may have even slowed down slightly, just coasting. Now, it looks like Richard had about 2 good strides on him. But then when St. Croix was off balance, Richard had that hole open net. But 2 breaks, and the Nordiques are there.
Exciting hockey team. Here's another look.
But there's the original save, and St. Croix is down. Wilson just skated by the puck. And then it came to Richard, and when you're a 50-goal scorer, baby, you don't have any trouble putting those in the net.
Okay, so watch out, especially if Quebec gets this goal.
Oh, I think it's going to be a great finish, and there isn't anything more exciting than overtime, Bob.
Okay, 3-3, regulation time, overtime coming up. Here again is David.
With me is Jacques Plante, who works with the Philadelphia goaltenders. I must say I have a little trouble talking to Jacques sitting in Quebec City and talking about Rick St. Croix, but that is the way he prefers it pronounced. Jacques, might he have been a little stale? I mean, he only had 1 shot before that one by Hunter. And you hear it all the time that a goaltender who's getting some shots regularly is sharper than somebody who was in his position.
Yes, we were talking about that upstairs as the period progressed, and I think it was 12, 13 minutes before we got a save, and it was a long shot. There was very little play around his net where he could go out after loose pucks and everything, so we were afraid that he might cool off. And on this breakaway there for the second goal, he came up, and I didn't see exactly how the puck went in. But then in the third one, when he blocked the puck and he seemed to lose his balance. And normally St. Croix has good balance and he doesn't give the puck away like he did there about 3 or 4 feet. He made a great save, but the puck just went to the wrong man and it tied the game.
Jacques, early in the season, I was in Philadelphia, and of course the Flyers had Phil Meir as well as Pete Peters and Rick St. Croix. And it was suggested that Peters or Meir had to become the #1 man. Of course, since then, Meir has departed for Colorado. Now, way back then, it was told to me that you thought Rick St. Croix was the best of the three. Is that true?
Well, I thought that he looked more like a goaltender. Everything that he does when there's a scramble in front of the net, if there's a rebound, if there's a loose puck, he seems to be the one in a better position to make that save, that second save or a third save. And I thought in scrambles, too, he was able to pick up the puck and make a save also. As an all-around goaltender, he was better than Peter because he's older, about 3 years older, and that's what I thought. But Quinn had Peters in Maine, and McCammon had him in Maine too. They thought that Peter played better, but I had never seen Peters in the playoff in Maine, so they won with Peters, and they did right because he won 35 games without a loss. I mean, the team did. But this year, I think what hurt Peters was that we had 3 goaltenders, and Pete realized that Meir was having some problems, so he told Meir in the practices, take more ice time. So therefore, he was sitting out and letting Meir practice. He lost his timing, he lost his confidence, and now he's still working hard to get it back.
Okay, is Rick going to be in the dressing room now dejected? Obviously, he feels badly that the game is still going. How easily is it done to get it out of his mind? I mean,
well,
you're in this position, obviously.
He didn't play bad.
No, I'm not suggesting he did.
You come in overtime, and it's a big pressure period, like, because the first goal, that's the end of the game. And actually, once the whistle goes and you're in the game, you forget all about that. But you just hope that you don't have to go back in there. And now they're in there, and it's the first time for him to have a look at it. So we'll have to wait and see.
Have you ever seen a goal so quickly in a game like the first one of this game, the way it went in?
Well, was it a record?
Well, almost.
There was one scored.
One scored at 6 seconds.
Well,
yeah.
I can't believe it. You know, and that's the way it went. And normally we tell the goaltenders, if the puck comes back from behind the goal line, try and put your stick behind the goal line when you stop it. So if it hits wrong and then it doesn't bounce between your legs and to go in. That's one time where the game is starting, everybody's relaxed, and the puck is just shot up the ice, and Bouchard just tried to casually throw it behind the net. But see, you have to realize also that Bouchard has a curved stick. And so when he went to backhand the puck, it was on the wrong end of the curve. So it just steered back in the net rather than go back behind the net.
Okay, if you're a goaltender going into overtime, do you like to get a shot pretty early, one that's not going to beat you, but get the feel of the puck? It gets back to my original question. If either goaltender sits there for 7, 8, 10 minutes and it's over, there's no fire. Does he start to get a little bit disturbed about what might come his way?
No, you don't think about the shots. You don't want any.
None at all.
If it stays at the other end, it's all right. Yes.
Okay, Jacques Plante, thank you. Always a pleasure to talk to you. And now for overtime, the first in this series, here's Bob and Gary.
Thank you, David. And Jacques Plante. This is Bob Cole along with Gary Dornhofer, and we're high above the ice surface here in the Coliseum in Quebec City. We're awaiting the return of the 2 teams, the Philadelphia Flyers and the Quebec Nordiques. It looked like Philadelphia were in complete control. They got 3 goals in the first period to Quebec's 1. Murray, Wilson, and Gorens for Philadelphia, Fatorik for Quebec. No scoring in the second period. And then, at 15:35, less than 5 minutes remaining, Gary Hunter exploded with Tardif and Hoganson getting an assist. A lucky break, okay. St. Croix handled the puck, couldn't quite hang on to it, and went in. But that evens it up. The first goal of the game, we recall, a bit of a lucky one that hit Dan Bouchard off the backboards into the net at 7 seconds. And then Richard tied it at 17:08, 2:52 remaining from Hunter and Lacroix. 3-3, overtime coming up. Heck of a hockey game. Nothing like it. You can't beat this stuff.
Absolutely, and the worst thing that either team could do right now is sit back and wait for a break. You have to create your own breaks. That doesn't mean going crazy out there and allowing yourself to be caught, but you have to force and turn the puck over and get some good scoring chances.
Here's the scoring as we just passed it along. Murray, Wilson, and Gorens for Philadelphia, Fatorik for Quebec, all in the first period. No scoring in the second, and then Hunter in 15:35 Richard at 17:01, the official time. 17:01. Philadelphia, Quebec 3-3. Shots at this point, awaiting overtime. Philadelphia 22 and Quebec 21. Gary, I was about to say to you, I'll say it now. We've heard it time and time again in the dressing room. What's going on? Go out, fellows, get a quick one. What?
Well, it's very quiet, especially in the Flyers dressing room. You still see that scoreboard. But I'm sure in the Nordiques dressing room, it's a lot of confidence, enthusiasm, and sometimes it's very important for the coach just to quiet things down, concentrate on what you have to do out there. But every shift now, it's complete concentration. Go out there, try to get that good shot. Every shot on net is important.
Line matchups in overtime. Any more importance other than regulation time?
Well, I think you still have to be concerned with the likes of a Clark and a Barber out there, and his two Stashneys. You still pay attention to those guys, but, you know, in overtime, you can't wait for the second goal. It's the first one, and it's all over. For the Nordiques, a loss, and they're out of it. So they've got to go to the offense and really take it to the Flyers.
You've played at overtime games. Is it a type of nervousness on an individual more so than at any other time? Are you prepared to accept full responsibility and play that way?
Well, it's a nervous feeling in the dressing room, but once the puck is dropped, you forget about that. But it's up to the player when he's sitting on the bench. He's concentrating on line changes. If he's next to go, he watches his man and his man only. As soon as he comes to the bench, he jumps on. You don't want to overstay your shift so that you're tired out there and you can't come back and do a back-checking job. 30, 40-second shifts, get off. Make the changes properly, but it's those little things that can beat you or the little things that can win it for you.
The goaltenders, they have an important role. Not only stopping pucks, but hollering at the defensemen, hollering at the wingers, passing along messages, clearing who's trailing, who's checking, who's not checking.
Well, you're right, Bob, and, giveaways. Don't be surprised if a giveaway causes a goal, but I don't think you can get fancy in your own zone now with sudden death overtime. When in doubt, just dump it out. As simple as that. You don't want to try any of those rink-wide passes where it can be intercepted, but something that's very important, when you're in the offensive zone, if you don't have a man to give it to, hang on to it. The worst thing they could do is there's a face-off, or the puck is frozen against the boards and there's a face-off.
Listen to the music. I want you to grab a little bit of this, folks. No wonder this team gets up here in Quebec City. Is that something?
Well, the crowd certainly gave the Nordiques a standing ovation, rightfully so, when they stepped on the ice. And here we go. This is what it's all about. You don't think about mistakes, even though they will happen. But it takes complete concentration by every individual. Bob?
All right, we're in overtime now, ladies and gentlemen. The score tied at 3. And Hunter comes to center against Linsman of Philadelphia. Richard missed the pass on the right side. Tardif on the other wing for Quebec, and here come the Flyers. Holmgren, and a shot just wide. Knocked down by Murray. Murray slides it over the other way. Kropp knocked it in to the corner, high on the glass. Marois goes back to the net. He lost it. A scramble in front. And that was a close call. Holmgren right in on top of Richard. Richard now coming down for Quebec, centering it to Hunter. Hunter gets another chance. Scores! He scores! We got a fifth game. Rick St. Croix, and the jubilation of Michel Bergeron, and the sad look on Pat Quinn. Bergeron leading these Quebec Nordiques into a fifth game in the Spectrum in Philadelphia.
How often have we seen that where a goal is usually scored in the first shift? Bergeron, oh, is he excited? But Paul Holmgren had a chance with Bouchard down, couldn't flip it over top of him. He would have given Flyers the lead. All of a sudden, the Nordiques come down the zone, and Dale Hunter, the hero. One shot.
One goal. And that's all she wrote. 4-3. Quebec, look at it.
Now, this happened just after Paul Holmgren
got the chance to score, but look at the second effort of Jacques Richard. He wards off a check. It'll come to Hunter. Now he fumbles with a puck. The Flyer skates right by him. I think that was Ken Lynchman. If he would have stopped and stayed with Hunter, there's no way that Hunter would have been able to shoot it. Watch Lynchman. Center your screen. He skates right by Hunter. No way. The shot right in the corner.
Woo! What a night here in the Coliseum. We can't see enough of this one.
But they battled the Nordiques. Give them credit. They were outchecked and outplayed through most of the game in the last 5 minutes of the third period. Hunter, Richard, and Hunter. And we've got game